All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you are new here. Thank you guys so much for waiting patiently, as always, for the intro to finish up. And I have a hole in my shirt. Forgot about that. Do you know how old this shirt is? That makes me sad. Not bad, though. One hole. This shirt might be like 17 years old or something. 18, I don't know. Something crazy like that. Oh, I just got distracted. Welcome back to the channel, guys. And Corey, bro, he's like, well, while MBG's talking about that hole on his shirt, I'm going to drop 5 membership gifts. Corey the Legend Landiga comes in and drops 5 membership gifts. He does it in the name of Boss.
I'm no hero.
We know why he does
it. Never will be.
As Wilco says, just ordered a PS5 disc drive because of you, MBG. Oh, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah, I have 2 PS5 disc drives now. I just put the other one on, the one I just got, put it on the 20th anniversary PS5. I said 20th, 30th anniversary. Why do I keep saying 20th? It's a big difference between 20 and 30. Corey, thank you for the member gifts, buddy. I'm going to add that to the counter. Yeah, we have a really interesting topic. We have a couple of interesting topics, but there's one in particular that I'm really excited to talk about with you guys. Maybe 2, actually. Again, all the topics today are interesting, but there are 2 that I have a lot to say. The big topic, like the juicy topic today, has to do with the PlayStation 6 and how we are getting a report from Insider Gaming that essentially seems to confirm Sony's going to be shipping the PlayStation 6 with a disc drive. It will support physical media. We can expect another generation of physical PlayStation games. And this is just such a relief to me, and I think many others, because I was waiting for this. I was waiting, hopefully, for the eventual confirmation that, yeah, they're going to continue to support physical games. So we'll talk about that, and I'm sure it will lead into other conversations and discussions about next generation in general, as it is usually the case. But we're also talking about Wolverine. We're talking about Wolverine because, as we know, we're apparently going to be seeing a new trailer soon. But Tom Henderson is also letting us know that he's been talking to some playtesters, and it seems like Insomniac is cooking, man, or they cooked. Playtesters apparently are very, very positive about this game. So this is going to be an exciting time to see Wolverine. Eric, what's up, man? Michael, by the way, you're not fined, bro. You're definitely not fined. Michael's the opposite of fined. If anything, Michael, you encourage people to like the streams more than I do. So does it say we get physical PS6 games or just backwards compatible disc support? Well, I guess I am making an assumption here. I am assuming that if Sony's going to ship the PlayStation 6 with a disc drive, that they're going to continue to manufacture physical PlayStation games, like PlayStation 6 games, physically. It would be wild if they were like, here's a PlayStation 6 with a disc drive and we're not making physical PlayStation 6 games. That would be wild. I think a lot of people don't realize that 55% of Astrobot's sales were physical. That game came out last year. Boss, what's going on, man? Please don't. So I did put something in front of the power strip to block it, so he shouldn't be able to step on it or rub up against the PC and turn it off accidentally. Irfin says, not surprising, it's Insomniac. Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of how I've been feeling, right? Like, I know some people are kind of down on Insomniac, but they've always done a good job, in my opinion. Yeah. All right, good luck. Tarnish, you're saying. Oh, might delete soon. Damn, Michael Werneth is he's doing it again. He's doing it again, bro. See, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. Michael, you would never get fined, man. Michael says if you guys hit the like button and we get 150 likes, we're a little ways from that. I don't even think we have 150 people here yet. So it would take a little bit of time. But if this stream gets 150 likes, he said he maybe, possibly, potentially might drop memberships. Michael's good for it. He drops memberships. He definitely helps the channel out. Well, we'll see what we can do, Michael. We're sitting at 43 right now. Just bumped up to 45. So if we can cross 50, we'll be on track. Saying JT says, thanks, Corey, for the membership. I just had to cancel after 4 years. Well, there you go, man. It sucks that you had to cancel, but boom. You immediately get gifted. Love to see it. Tarnish, that's crazy. Let me tell you how not surprised I am, not even remotely. Yeah, we'll just keep it rolling. We'll just keep it rolling. We got some topics to discuss today. But yeah, it's not even a little bit surprising. You have hope for Wolverine and you trust Insomniac? Yeah, man. We will talk about Wolverine. I'll probably make that the second topic we discuss. I definitely want to talk about how happy I am that we are going to be getting another generation of physical game support from Sony. Because we've talked ad nauseum. I mean, we've talked about the topic of physical games, next gen, whether or not we can expect physical PlayStation 6 games. Will the PlayStation 6 even offer a disc drive or have disc drive support? We've talked about this extensively. And even though it's not Sony coming out and saying it, it's coming from Tom Henderson of Insider Gaming, and he's incredibly reliable. In fact, he, for like this entire generation, has been leaking almost everything that Sony was doing hardware-wise. And, it's clear he has some very good sources. That's an interesting mug. Looks like the carcass of a roly-poly. Thanks, Michael. You like it? Corey says sig time here. Did you ever see the Guinness World Record for every console? Imagine having every physical game for that. I could never. I mean, look, man. I like to collect physical games. I could never do anything even remotely on that level. Not even close. I don't know what the upper limits are for me collecting physical games. One of the things I did talk to you guys about was how, like, if Sony were to go all digital and basically say, can you guys not fight? Come on. These cats, man. If they were to go all digital and be done with physical, I would just have to accept that I'm going to have to make the PS5 game collection. That'll be it. That'll be what closes it out. I've also talked extensively about how when we have conversations about like exclusivity and Sony's entire strategy going into next generation, I've told you guys that one of my biggest concerns that is like way higher on the list than any of those things, even beyond like pricing of the console and whether or not Sony's going to have true exclusives. My biggest concern is, will it support physical games? Are we getting physical PlayStation 6 games? Can I continue to collect physical PlayStation games going into next generation? That to me was probably at like the number one spot. Like are you making a console like a traditional home console? That's the number one concern and question. Obviously, that was answered a while ago. The answer is yes. Literally, the second one is, are you supporting physical media? Can I buy physical PS6 games? That's the second most important thing. But let me give you guys the rundown of this report. Again, this is coming from Insider Gaming, Tom Henderson, who's proven to be extremely reliable, and he's been leaking a couple of things recently about PlayStation. So he says Insider Gaming has learned that the PlayStation 6 is planned to have a detachable disc drive when the console launches. First introduced mid-generation for the PlayStation 5 and exclusively reported by Insider Gaming in September 2022, the detachable disc drive was a means for PlayStation to reduce its production and shipping costs. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I always do that. I have the speech to text, or I always get that wrong. The text to speech. I have it playing on my end and it's not coming through on your end, so I'm just sitting here silently listening to it thinking everybody else can hear it. Let me replay Michael's, by the way, because I don't know that everybody heard that. This was the super chat that Michael Warneth sent a couple minutes ago.
If the stream gets over 150 likes, there could potentially, maybe, possibly, could be memberships dropped. I might delete soon.
And then Isley.
Maybe a hot take, but I don't mind PS5 Disc Drive being incompatible with PS6 if it means Sony makes PS6 look less weird.
Less weird. Yeah, that's something we're going to talk about, like whether or not we can anticipate that the disc drives we already have will be compatible with the PlayStation 6. Because one of the things that he does mention in this article is the overall design and the overall look of the PlayStation 6. No, that's not AI Arnold. Some people think that sounds a little bit like Arnold, but it's not. Says for the next generation of PlayStation, several sources who wished to remain anonymous because they were not authorized to talk about company plans have said that the detachable disc drive is here to stay for the next generation. Identical to the PlayStation 5 and its detachable disc drive, customers will be able to buy the console individually as a digital console, bundled with the PlayStation 6 as a traditional console, or upgrade later by purchasing the detachable disc drive separately. According to one source, unless things are changed at the last minute, PlayStation is, quote, firm on the decision because the disc drive for the PlayStation 5 hit all of the company's internal targets. Again, it was reiterated by the source that the decision was made to reduce manufacturing and shipping costs during uncertain times, likely referring to the tariff/trade war. These, quote, uncertain times have seemingly influenced PlayStation's decision on the look of the next PlayStation 2, as rumblings suggest that this time around, the PlayStation 6 will have a much simpler design than its predecessor, again, to maximize efficiency, shipping space, weight, and so on. So, yeah, again, this is in my opinion, very significant report that we're getting on the PlayStation 6, where there's basically two very important things we're learning. Disk drive is happening and will be there day one with the PlayStation 6. Physical media will be supported. Number two, the look of the PS6 is going to be apparently much simpler than the PS5. And I actually want to ask you guys what you think about this before we talk more about the disk drive situation. He says, these uncertain times have seemingly influenced PlayStation's decision on the look of the next PlayStation. Rumblings suggest that this time around, the PlayStation 6 will have a much simpler design compared to the PS5. Michael's saying, please like the video, guys. Help bring good people in. Yeah, just a reminder, he did drop a super chat. He said if we can get 150 likes, maybe he'll drop some membership gifts for you guys. We did do some members content last week, by the way. We did some members lounges. We did some gameplay. We did some Marvel Tokon gameplay, actually. So we're sitting at 65 likes. Let's keep pushing to increase those likes. We could easily get to 100, guys. We could easily get to 150 if we really wanted to. Well, let's keep chipping away at it, all right? Garrett says, don't care what it looks like too much, but I like the spaceship look of the PS5. Well, there's no denying that the PS5 is a very unique looking console. Very different than I think anything Sony has done previously, and very different than I think what people were expecting. Now, when they say that they're going to go back to a simple design, I mean, what I'm imagining is just like a rectangular box essentially. You know, I'm imagining something just more akin to even like the PlayStation 2 or the PlayStation 4 perhaps. Um and I have no problem with this. I've always thought that the PS5's design was um it was unique, and when I first saw it I was like, "Whoa, that's not at all what I was expecting." But at the same time, it's like if the PS5 was just a regular box, I would have been fine with that as well. And I think some people really do care about the look of these consoles. Some people love the way the PS5 looks because it looks so unique and so different. It doesn't just have that normal regular box that just sits in your entertainment center look to it. But it does sound like with the PlayStation 6, they are going to go back to something much simpler. And to be honest, I'm not so much interested in the look of the I mean, of course, I'm interested in the look of the console and the overall design of it. I'm more interested in if Sony's going to stick with the two-tone color this time around. If they're going to do the white and black again, or if they're just going to go back to black, you know? They could go back to like gray like they did with the PS1, but I don't know, most of the PlayStation consoles have been all black. The PS2, PS3, PS4, and the PS5 just kind of sits there as like this giant, two-tone white and black behemoth. Um, so in my mind, I'm just automatically imagining that, like, yeah, the PlayStation 6 is probably going to be a black rectangular console. I think that'd be pretty cool. I think that'd be pretty cool. It'd be a little bit nostalgic, I guess. Like, to be honest, I'm kind of hoping they go for something somewhat similar to the PS2 design. The PS3 design was not my favorite. Well, to be honest, I like the way the PS3 looked. It kind of did look like a George Foreman grill. I like the way the PS3 looked. I didn't like the font. They went with that Spider-Man font. But the PS2, I'm always nostalgic for that one, man. I like the way the PS1 looked, of course, but the PS2 was just so sleek and simple. It wasn't it didn't stand out, but it didn't need to. It was a PS2, you know. They should maybe go for that. The PS3 redesigns were interesting as well. PS2 Slim was interesting. I had a PS2 Slim. That thing was small. I remember when I had the PS2 Slim, I was always afraid that thing was going to like break. Zero Point. Yeah, we're going to I did watch that video. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Yeah. I definitely have some things to say about that. No more glossy consoles, please. Dude, could you imagine if the PS6 is like oval shaped and just all gloss? How cursed would that be? All right, boss. Let's go up here. Did that not play the audio? Bobby Heckelmeyer says the PlayStation 5 Fat will always be my favorite design. I think when people look back on it, the PS5 will stand up there as some people's favorite. Do you guys see Boss licking the curtain? Bro, are you serious right now? Okay. And Makwi Ninja with a $2 super chat says, should do a vertical design similar to the PS3. Yeah, I think that's another question, right? Is like, when you see the PS5, it's pretty clear that it was always meant to be like a vertical console, you know? You can obviously lay it down horizontally. A lot of people do. And obviously, no matter what they do, you have to have the option to go horizontal or vertical. But I do wonder like how I do wonder how different the well, not really speaking about whether it can be a vertical design or horizontal, but something else I was thinking about Mach Ninja was like how with the PS5, one of the more interesting aspects that Sony leaned into are the plates and the covers, how you can take them off, and they sold you different ones and you can replace them. I wonder if part of the simplicity here, going back to a simpler design, will be something that's just non-customizable, right? Like it's just one box and there are no plates. It doesn't like come apart in any way. I do wonder if they will do something like that this time around, because we do have to keep in mind that the article does claim here. The article does claim that Sony's going to go back to a more simple design in order to maximize efficiency, shipping space, weight, and so on. So they want it to be as lightweight as possible. They want to try to save money on the PlayStation 6. And that makes sense because we've talked about how, you know, Sony is in this weird position with the PlayStation 6 and its pricing, where if they want to put out a powerful next generation home console that is going to give people some level of confidence where it's like this is going to be worth upgrading to, um but they don't want to do so at like a ridiculous like $800 price point or even $700 price point, because I don't think you would hit the mass market with a $700 price point. You could kind of see how Sony's going to be looking at this as like we need to try to save in every area we can, because the reality that we're looking at with the PlayStation 6 is I think Sony's going to have no choice but to sell it at a loss. Now, I don't think they're going to sell it at a massive loss, not like PS3 levels, but I think that they are kind of just maybe looking at it as we need to cut costs anywhere we can, save anywhere we can to minimize how much we're going to have to lose on each console sold. Because the only other alternative is, again, selling this console at a price point that will not penetrate the mass market. And everything we've heard about what Sony plans to do with the PlayStation 6, rumors, leaks, everything tells us that they absolutely plan to hit the mass market. They're not trying to go in the direction that Microsoft is, where Microsoft's going to release a very premium, very expensive, but very powerful niche product that is not going to sell tens of millions of units, you know? So Sony's going to be going in the opposite direction of that, but it's going to be difficult for them to do that. It's going to be a balancing act, essentially, because they're going to have to convince people that it's worth upgrading to, that it is next gen, but they're going to have to not go too crazy. They're not going to be willing to eat, you know, like hundreds of dollars on every unit sold. That's not going to happen. But looking back at this article, so they say identical to the PlayStation 5 and its detachable disc drive, customers will be able to buy the console individually as a digital console or bundled with the PlayStation 6 as a traditional console. Now, it's worth noting, digital console and traditional console are in quotes. So anytime you see him using quotes in this article, that's what the source is saying. It's clear that I'm starting to think his source is like Mark Cerny or something, because whoever his source is, Tom Henderson, literally knows exactly what Sony's doing with their hardware. Like exactly. And they've been spot on about everything. So they're pretty much saying like you will be able to buy a traditional PlayStation 6 console. The way I'm reading this, because I've seen a couple people interpret this differently, what he's saying, like how you'll be able to buy the console individually as a digital console, bundled with the disc drive as a traditional PlayStation 6 console, or even upgrade later by purchasing the detachable disc drive. If the way I'm reading that, it's going to be exactly how it is for the PS5 right now. MBG, have you ever figured out why membership gifting isn't available through iPhone on your channel? I can do it on other channels. It's a weird, persistent thing. No, Josh, I was under the impression that not being able to gift memberships on iPhone was a YouTube-wide thing. But that's weird. You're saying you can do it on other channels. I wish I could say I knew why. or what could be the cause of that. I have no idea. Perfect Image, you're saying it's in the settings. I mean, what settings though, dude? Like, I am pretty familiar with all my settings in the studio, and I will look into this because Josh, I don't think I've ever had somebody come in and tell me that they've been able to do it through their iPhone on other channels. I don't think I've ever run into somebody telling me that before. Unless maybe it's like a rollout thing. Hold on. No, I'm checking real quick. Hold on. Well, yeah, the only thing I've been able to tell people for now, because I don't know if you're saying it's in settings, MBG is the problem, always has been. Microsoft keeping me down, says Whiskey Gaming. You have to enable it. Yeah, I'm going to have to look into this. The only alternative that I've been able to offer people, because if this is something in the settings, I have no idea where it's located and that it was ever even a setting. Like, this would genuinely be news to me. But the only alternative, Josh, is I've told people if you're on iPhone, you download Google Chrome, you log into YouTube there, come to the stream, it should let you do it. Find it now. Find it now. Do it. Well, hold on, let me Google it real quick. Let me see what comes up. Well, I mean, AI just says here, AI overview to gift a YouTube membership on an iPhone. Watch a
Sony
live
probably are
stream.
not going to acquire studios for a while after Bungie debacle, and they need few more studios. Bloober Team and Techland would fit in.
So I'm looking at the direct donation from Lamin. Well, yeah, dude, I gotta say, Sony has been extremely quiet, as everybody else has been as well, because this is not the time of consolidation at this point. Sony's been very quiet on the acquisition front, but I would agree with that. Bloober Team and Techland, those are two very talented developers, and I think they would fit in very well with Sony. And they make single. Well, I know Techland, they make Dying Light. Dying Light can be played multiplayer, but generally speaking, they're viewed as like single player developers. So I agree with that, Lamin. I do wonder when Sony's going to buy more studios, if they're going to. It says here, then tap the dollar icon next to the live chat. Select membership gifting. Choose the... See, look at this. It says, in order for this option to appear, the creator must have gift memberships enabled for their channel. Creator settings. The channel must have gift memberships enabled for you to be able to use this feature. I do, though. Yeah, I saw that, Sean. That's going to be really interesting. Michael Lynch with the $2 super chat. Before I read this, guys, by the way, we are almost at 90 likes. We have almost 200 people here watching. I'm going to get aggressive with it. I'm going to aggressively tell you guys to hit that like button, because if we hit 150 likes, Michael Werner says he'll drop some member gifts for you guys. And Corey the Legend Landiga, as I'm saying that, comes in and drops 20 membership gifts on you guys. Corey says, you know what? Today is I'm going to do the entire 25 member lift kind of day in the name of boss.
Holy shit.
Corey, thank you so much for that, buddy. What about turning it off and back on again? That could work, Josh, but I'm terrified. Like, I'm terrified that would actually break something, but maybe there is something to that. Corey, thank you so much for dropping 20 member gifts on us. I'm going to give Boss a couple of his treats now.
Boasty, read me. It's time to feed the
He's ready
beast.
for the salmon. But yeah, guys, make sure you hit that like button because there might be more membership gifts in our future here. All right, this is almost gone. That's from Corey, boss. He's got you, bro. He's got your back. 100 muscle ups. Who would I like to see Sony acquire if they were to acquire any more studios? I mean, I liked what Laman said. I think Techland would be a big get. I mean, the Dying Light series is pretty popular, pretty well respected, and this new Dying Light game looks great. Yeah, Michael, I'm sorry, buddy. Michael says, I didn't watch your Tokon video. What did you think? So, yeah, I did a short live stream. It was some other members' content. It was like an hour long where I played Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. And I will tell you that it was really fun, actually, like surprisingly fun. It's not that I was expecting it to be bad or low quality. I didn't get that feeling at all. But the big thing about it is even though I still didn't fully grasp all of the mechanics and there were different aspects of like combos and specials and all this stuff that I'm like, I don't really know how all of this works together and how it's done, but I'm going to just try my best. And I felt like I had a decent chance. For those who were watching my stream, I came across some players that whooped my ass where I'm like, I can barely move right now. And then there were other times where it was more evenly matched. And I felt like, I was actually winning a couple of matches and holding my own. And so overall, I was left with a feeling of this is a very high quality, very well made fighting game. No doubt about that. I felt like I did want to play more. I am excited to see the roster reveal. And this is a game that I could see myself trying to get better at because I didn't leave I think I probably played about 3 hours in total. For the time that I played, I didn't leave feeling like, man, I don't stand a chance. Like I shouldn't even bother. This game is just going to be pain. I didn't feel that way. I felt like if I really wanted to try to get better, I actually could because I'm doing pretty decent right now.
Hey, I'm Gangster Awesome YouTuber. Since PS chose AMD again over Intel cause of back compat and including physical from 4 to 6, keep being gangsta gang.
Keep being gangsta gang. I love it, Perfect Image. And Corey, let me add your membership gifts to the goal here. Boss, make sure you thank Corey. Thank you for that, Perfect Image. I do appreciate it. Since PlayStation chose AMD again over Intel because of back compat. Yeah, so that's going to be like a major win. I know it might not be PS3 or like full backwards compatibility, but Sony being able to say like with the PlayStation 6, if you have physical PS4 and PS5 games, physical PS4, 5, and 6 games, they're all playable. They're all playable. That's going to be awesome. Like, because there are a lot of people who have a ton of physical PS4 games. And, that was one of the biggest selling points of the PS5 as a way to easily move people over where you can just bring your collection with you. That's one of the biggest reasons I always did kind of feel like there's no way Sony wouldn't, offer something physically for the PS6 because they would have to turn the PS4 users and say, and even PS5 users who bought physical games like, sorry. Josh, you're saying, I only say that because YouTube might not recognize that the setting is on given how iPhone updates. Yeah, Neo, you missed it, bro. Don't worry, Gaming Survivor's got you covered. Well, Arc DLC is a must. Capcom DLC would be great too, in addition. I mean, I will also say, Michael, when talking about Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, bro, each character, now there weren't a ton of characters to choose from. They still have to reveal more characters, but each character felt pretty unique. Like anytime I switched and I was playing as them, like they did a good job. They did a really good job where it just, I think Sony has a winner on their hands with this. And I know that sounds like obvious to say, but I mean, after going hands on with it and playing it myself, I feel confident saying like this is, I think, going to be a major success for them. And I think this is going to be like a top tier fighting game that is always going to be in the rotation now. Arc System Works, they cooked with this one, bro. And I say that as somebody who's not a major fighting game fan, but I platinum Tekken 8, I'm one trophy away from platinuming Mortal Kombat. Like I like some fighting games, you know? And this is not my usual type of fighting game that I play, but my level of intimidation has been greatly reduced after going hands on with it, where I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I think maybe I can figure this out. Because the four, you know, having four teammates felt very like that's a lot, bro. Michael, you're saying I can membership gift from my phone on the Pat McAfee show right now, and that's live. He might be right. Yo, okay, hold on. See, this is freaking me out. All right, hold on. How to turn on gifted memberships. All right, I'll just do it live just to see if anything pops up. Because that's crazy to me. I've been under the impression this entire time that you just simply can't gift memberships from iPhone or an Apple device. But now you guys are saying that if you go to another channel right now that's live streaming, they give you the option. So, Michael, you're telling me that on your iPhone right now, if you click the money icon at the bottom, it doesn't give you the option to gift. Is there anybody here on iPhone, if you click that dollar sign in the chat, is there anybody using iPhone right now that can confirm it gives you the option to gift? You will then have to gift one membership to prove it. I'm kidding, of course, but let me just go check really quick. Let's see, memberships. I don't know if it's going to be under this setting here. You'd think it would be. I think it's under... looking around. And Michael Lynch with the $2 chat says, Apple's iPhone 17 event in 17 minutes. The iPhone 17, man. That's crazy. Do you think we'll ever get a PlayStation 17? Watch a YouTube tutorial, bro? Alan Gould says, you're wrong, MBG. I have an iPhone. I can gift memberships, but not on your channel. It doesn't work. Yeah, what the okay. This makes me wonder if it is a setting that I have to find. Or maybe it is what Josh said, where it's like I just have to turn it off and then on. I'm looking now. Disable channel memberships? Dude, see, I don't think I can do that. No, I don't think I can just click disable channel memberships, because if I do that, I think it's going to like refund everybody or something. And then everybody would have to like re-sign up. You cannot gift on Brandon Butch's channel either. There has to be something going on here. We'll get back on topic. I'm really curious about this now. See, all right, this is totally useless. You cannot gift YouTube memberships directly on YouTube's iOS app because the feature is currently unavailable on mobile devices. So what? I don't know. Yeah, this is bizarre. This is strange. Piper, it's because of too many fanboys in the chat. Yo, don't be disrespecting my chat, Piper. We got some good people in the chat. Solution, erase iPhones. Whiskey, let me guess, you're an Android user? Michael, you're saying he's an Apple guy. Huh. Okay. By the way, guys, we're at 106 likes. I'm going to keep pushing. Speaking of membership gifts, Corey dropped 25 for you guys today, showing huge support. We're sitting at 106 likes. Michael says he'll drop some more member gifts for you guys if we hit 150. So if you haven't hit that like button yet, please take a moment to do so. It'll help the channel twofold. You can gift memberships on an iPhone device via Safari web browser, not via the YouTube app. Mrs. MBG in the chat says, I figured out that you can go on an iPhone. If you download Google Chrome, go on YouTube. You just can't through the app or Safari. Huh. Yeah, this is all over the place. Corey says, I'm not a hero. All right, well, I don't want to spend much more time talking about it here, but I'll look into it. I'll try to do some research, more extensive research, more than I can do right now, because we do have to get back on topic. When I'm done streaming today, I'll look into it and see if I can find anything out, because that is peculiar. I don't know what's going on there. If there are other YouTube channels where, you know, some of my viewers are saying they can just pull it up on their iPhone, no problem, but then like on my channel, they can't. I would like to know what the cause of that is, you know? Lady Gamer, you're saying I can gift memberships on my phone, no problem at all. Are you using Android? All YouTube says is that they're working on it. I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like that. If it's just like, for some people it works and for others it doesn't. So, well, either way, for those of you who are able to gift memberships, thank you for doing so. And for those of you who go out of your way, even on iPhone, to find a way to still gift memberships, thank you so much for that. Thank you for going above and beyond. I really appreciate it. But let's get back on the rails now, talking about the PlayStation 5 Disc Drive. So the last thing I read here to you guys is it's being said there's going to be a digital PlayStation 6 console that you can buy by itself, and then you can get one bundled with the disc drive. Now, if you buy the digital PS6 console, you can always buy the disc drive separately, just like you can right now for the PS5. So with this in mind, it's pretty safe to say that the cheapest version of the PlayStation 6 will be the digital version. And I think it's also safe to say that that's the version Sony will push, right? So if we look at how much they're charging for a disc drive separately right now, if you go on PlayStation Direct, they're charging $80 for the disc drive. Assuming it's going to be about the same for the, for the PlayStation 6, I mean, dude, Gaming Survivor, by the way, I saw that comment you left on my video and I was laughing, dude. I'm like, that's crazy. The cheapest would be the bundle. Well, I mean, even when the PlayStation 5 first launched, they dropped the PS5 digital edition at $400 and the PS5 disc edition at $500. And most people went for the disc version. And I think the digital PS5 is now $450. No, it's $500 now. They did just increase the price. That's crazy. Wow. Just goes to show how messed up things are. We started with the PS5 digital at 400. Now it's at 500, bro. What happened? We're going backwards. They should make the disc drive non-proprietary, third-party market to keep a lower price. That would be cool, but yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. I think everybody's assuming they're going to probably... I think the safe assumption is that the PS6 Disc Drive will just be something that stands on its own, and it will be proprietary, and I don't even think you're going to be able to take the PS5 Disc Drive and put it on your PS6. How cool would that be, though? Yeah, they won't, but they should. I agree. That would be the next best thing, though, like a good in-between. If Sony can come out and say, if you have a disc drive on your PS5 right now, that will be compatible with the PlayStation 6. That would be awesome. That'd be a big win, but I don't know. I'm assuming it's not going to work like that. It would be cool, but I'm just playing it safe and assuming that they're just going to be two separate disc drives. One for the PS5, one for the PS6. I also wonder, like, again, talking about the design of the PlayStation 6, I mean, when you look at the PS5, the PS5 Slim, the PS5 Pro, they offer a cover right where the disc drive is, and you could just pop the cover off, put the disc drive on, pop the cover on. If it's going to be the disc drive, if it's going to be the same as it is now, where it's like you can buy it separately for the PS6, it almost makes me think that even though they're going to have a much simpler design for the PS6, it might still be similar to the PS5 in the fact that maybe they will still have covers that you can just pop on and off. Or maybe there will just be one specific part of the PlayStation 6, and that's the only part that you can remove to put a disc drive on. They could do that as well. The disc drive can just fit into the chassis. Maybe they'll have an extra USB-C port just for the drive. Oh, yeah. That would be... I don't know about that. That would be interesting. I've heard people mention that before. Where you just like kind of like plug it in. Literally, you just plug in the disc drive to the PS6. But the thing is, if they're going to launch with a PS6 disc version, like a disc model version, that would be so weird. You know, like it's like bundled together and they show like the picture, you just see like the PS6 and then there's just like a disc drive plugged in next to it. That'd be so awkward looking. Well, to be honest, I don't really care how they do it. I mean, PMOS, you're asking how tall I am. What does that have to do with PS5 disc or PS6 disc drive, bro? That would be the cheapest option if they're worried about cost. That is true, actually. Yeah, that's a good point, Whiskey. If they really were that hung up on, we got to like really cut costs as much as possible, that would be the cheapest option. Jeffrey Luttrell, a longtime member for 32 months. Jeffrey, thank you for that, buddy. Says, MBG, hope you're doing well and the family. I've really been enjoying the content lately. Wish I could give membership gifts, but unfortunately with my iPhone, so I've had trouble. But I try to show support. Well, I appreciate that, Jeffrey. It's a thought that counts, man. And thank you for being a member. Yeah, that's crazy, man. At this point, don't even tell me if you're on iPhone and that's why you can't. Because now it's just going to be like making me feel like YouTube's screwing me over. No, I'm this close to beating Delta, Broccoli Rob. I'm taking my time with my first playthrough. I'm just kind of soaking it all in, you know, checking every nook and cranny. And then after my first playthrough, that's when I'm really going to start the trophy grind. But yeah, Jeffrey, thank you for the support, buddy. And again, guys, we're sitting at 117 likes. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. I think we can do it. I think we can hit 150 likes. That would be impressive, to be honest, considering I think we peaked at like 100 or 220 viewers so far. If we hit 150 likes, that's a really good ratio. Michael Werneth, if he's still here, I'm assuming he is, says he might, maybe he'll drop some membership gifts for you guys. No, I still have Death Stranding 2 installed. I still have it installed. Yeah. I don't know why. There might be a surprise if you hit 150 likes. Yeah. Well, that's not concerning. That's not concerning at all, Michael. Corey says, enjoy Delta, mate. Yeah, man. When I was making my video earlier, I put the footage of the Fox Hunt game mode, and I got like really excited for it again because I'm like, dude, the mechanics in MGS Delta feel really good. Like, I think if there's one thing that Konami nailed is knowing what they needed to change and what new mechanics they needed to, updated mechanics they needed to bring in to make it feel contemporary. I think they did a great job with that. Feels great to play. And Joshua Reinhardt comes in and renews his membership. Joshua, thank you so much for that, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Josh, you know I do appreciate you renewing your membership, and that goes for everybody else who actually allows their membership to renew month over month. You guys know, totally fan-funded here on the channel. We don't do sponsorships. You guys make it possible for me to do this, so Joshua, really appreciate it, buddy. And yeah, we'll have more members content coming throughout the week and in the coming weeks, of course. So if you are a member, please look forward to that. Go check out some of the previous members lounges and member gameplay streams. Go build some zip lines since you haven't uninstalled. Yeah, I platinumed the game after like 125 hours, but just for the fun of it, let's just go build a zip line network. Why not? I don't know why I haven't uninstalled it, to be honest. Like, I probably should, because I'm good. I got my fill of Death Stranding 2. I feel totally satisfied now that I've got the platinum. I did everything there was to do in that game. I don't think I missed anything. Still my game of the year, though, Even though the grind was a bit tedious for the platinum, considering the platinum is always optional, still my game of the year. Yeah, there may be a couple of small Easter eggs that I missed. Took me 125 hours, Captain Hook. 127, to be exact. 127 hours. What was that, like, equate to 5 days, I think? Like 5 full days? Yeah, it was a long one, man. Getting the platinum for Death Stranding 2 definitely requires a time commitment. Oh, it's all good, Tarnished. It's a thought that counts. I know there are a lot of people who would like to support the channel. It's just not within their means right now. But even just the fact that you would say that and you even think about it, I appreciate it. Michael says 128 likes. Sheesh, you guys are awesome. Yeah, it's almost the exact amount of time it took me to platinum Death Stranding. In hours. Broccoli Rob, you have 38 games installed, dude? Well, I did want to ask you guys, and I meant to put out a poll. I'm going to put it out now. Since we're talking about the disc drive, we're talking about physical games. I'm going to ask you guys if you're planning on buying your games physically for the PlayStation 6. Corey says, don't know about the Latias, but I'm pumped for another 1,000 hour playthrough of a new Witcher title. Damn, Corey. Over 1,000 hours, bro? That's impressive. That's impressive. 1,000 hours. What's the last game I put 1,000 hours into? Maybe like Dead by Daylight? I don't know if I'm proud of that, though. I'm going to be honest. I wonder if the handheld's going to be digital only. Well, see, that's the thing. I thought about that as well, where I was like, if the handheld, it is going to have to be digital only. Like, there's just no way. Though, hold on now. What Whiskey Gaming said a moment ago about a disk drive that just plugs in through USB-C. Hold on now. Hold on. Do you think Sony would do that? They're like, yo, you can buy the disk drive separately, or if you buy the PS6 that comes with the disk drive, it just plugs in. You could use it on your handheld, bro. I don't know. Dude, that sounds crazy to me. I don't know. I don't know how Sony's going to handle it. It does seem a little bit messy because, well, the idea is, in my mind, if you're going to have the handheld, it's going to be digital only. And basically what Sony's going to tell you is that your digital library will be playable on this handheld. And I think what they will be able to tell you in terms of physical games is that if, let's say you buy the PlayStation 6, right? You buy the PlayStation 6 Disc Drive Edition, and you buy your PlayStation 6 games physically. You have all of your games physical for PS5, okay? And then you buy the handheld. I think you might be limited to whatever game you have in your disc drive. That's the only game you can play on the go. I think that might be the only compromise. It's a significant compromise, but that's really the only actual compromise that they could have, you know? To whereas, like, if you bought the handheld and you have an entirely digital library, you can just, you know, go from game to game. I don't know. You're kind of embarrassed Street Fighter 2 was your first 1K hour game when I was growing up. I don't think there's anything to be embarrassed about. Need expandable storage on the handheld 110%. Apparently there will be expandable storage. Guys, by the way, sorry to sound like a broken record. We're just 20 likes away. Just saying. 20 more. 20 more. All right, let me construct this poll. Dodgitally? No, not dodgitally. All right. All right, here we go. Putting out a poll. You can vote on it. Will you buy your PS6 games physically or digitally? The four options are physically, digitally, a mix of both, or you're not getting the PlayStation 6. Because for some people, this isn't even going to be a thing. They're not even planning on upgrading. But yeah, I do just want to kind of continue to talk about how I'm just really happy about this, man. Like, one of the things I was really fearful about with the PlayStation 6 generation is that one of my favorite aspects of this generation so far, which is buying games physically, collecting physical games, I was afraid that, you know, we would find out that would not be a part of the next generation. And it would be something that if I want to upgrade, if I want to move forward, I would have to leave it behind. And I feel really relieved, frankly. Like, it's good news. It's a W in my opinion, but mainly it's a feeling of relief. Like, yes, I'm at least going to get at least one more generation of being able to buy physical games, collect physical games. And to be honest, I am anticipating that this will be the last generation. It's hard to say for sure. You know, I think people would have said that at the beginning of the PS5 generation, but feels like we're getting close. You know, feels like we're getting close to the end of, like,
MBG, I recently installed MGO2 on PC. Talk about a trip down memory lane. When you gonna do a members only launch of MGO2? P.S. I'm buying physical.
Physical all the way, bro. That's awesome. Yeah, I've known for some time that there's like a Metal Gear Online community that keeps the game alive on PC specifically for, I don't know if there probably are people playing Metal Gear Online 1. I think I was watching some video clips of that, but Metal Gear Online 2 is the big one that people reminisce about. And yeah, man. I mean, I don't know how many people play that. How's it feel? Does it hold up? That's a question I have. NLG Pro is like, because I have this, like, I have memories in my head of like, oh yeah, it felt so good to play. But we're talking about a game that came out in 2008, 2009. So it's like, if I were to go play it now, it's like, oh, this is rough. This is rough, bro. 7 more, by the way. Wow, you guys really hit that like button. 7 more likes, and we hit the goal. Michael's waiting. Don't keep him waiting. That's crazy, though. Thank you guys so much for that. Well, NLG Pro, this is why, man. This is why I'm really stoked for this Fox Hunt multiplayer mode for Metal Gear Solid Delta. I know that it's not, they made it clear it's not Metal Gear Online. But to be honest, after playing Metal Gear Solid Delta and, you know, really getting a feel for it again and getting into it, it feels fantastic to play. And so it's like, dude, I'm very much ready to play this game, the multiplayer side of it. So I just hope we don't have to wait that much longer. I think they said fall. And knowing how passionate the Metal Gear Online community is, I have no doubt that Fox Hunt is going to be something that they play, you know, that they'll stick to. Because I don't know if it'll eventually turn into Metal Gear Online, but oh, damn. Now we're just 2 away. Dude, Michael Wernitz's tactic is extremely effective, I have to admit. His tactic to acquiring more likes is very effective. It works well. Broccoli Rob says, I already have an insane card collection. I don't want to end up with a storage unit worth of shit. I mean, I've thought about that too. Again, like what the upper limits are of my collecting. Like, I don't know that I would want every PS5 game, you know? That would be too much. And we did it. We just did it. I don't know who the last person was to hit like, but we just hit 150 likes. And Michael's going to be like, well, I'm going to head out. Good job, guys. Seriously. Good job.
Holy shit.
I got to give that to the community for hitting the like button, showing massive support. Incredible. And Michael comes in and he does it. Bro, another 50 bomb. Holy smokes, indeed. Michael Wernith coming in dropping a 50 bomb on this community. Well, I guess you guys earned it. God damn, dude. Another one.
Holy shit.
He was being all coy about it, too. Like, maybe, possibly, maybe I'll drop some memberships. Bro had a 50. He had a 50 loaded and ready to go. Michael, thank you so much, man. You've been such a big supporter of the channel, such an awesome community member, and you know how much I appreciate it, bro. Good stuff. Good stuff. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting to hit 150 likes. Certainly was not expecting Michael to drop 50 more memberships from the sky. So if you're in the chat right now and you end up getting a membership gift, well, be sure to thank Michael and go check out, when we're done here, some of the members' content. Like I said, we did some Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls gameplay. We did some Death Stranding Road to Platinum streams. And we did some members lounges as well. And the members lounges get a little bit crazy. So they're a little bit unhinged. Just be prepared if you go check those out. And with that 50, Michael just brought us up to 75. I'm going to owe you guys reps. Okay? I'm going to owe you guys reps at the end of the stream today. So remind me, in case sometimes I forget, because I had to move my dumbbells over here to keep boss away from the power unit. Yeah, really, really appreciate what you guys do. Seriously. Don't mean to sound like a broken record all the time, but we have an awesome community, and I'm very grateful to be able to do streams like this, to talk about gaming, to cover these topics. I think sometimes I am human. It's easy to take certain things for granted, but just want you guys to understand how much I appreciate it. Who wants to? Wow, don't go there. 0 Point. One day we'll do it. Listen, one day we will do it. But if I ever have to resort to that as a means to like get memberships, might be in some trouble. One day though. I mean, eventually they're going to do a remaster, right? We can at least assume that safely. Wait, who got gifted a membership? Boss, what are you doing? You want more treats? Okay. All right, well, listen, I can't give you more treats, but I can give you some catnip. Yeah, we'll continue to talk about the topics. We do have to talk about Wolverine. We have to talk about Helldivers 3. But there you go, boss. Yeah, I love how Helldivers 3 was just casually confirmed. Hold on. Okay. All right. Oh, Corey, you want the jumping string? Oh, we're actually at 76 members, by the way. Yeah, I do have his favorite shoelace that he likes to use. So it's still early in the stream, and we still have topics to get through. So 30 years of PlayStation. Damn, talk about a long time ago. Yeah, for those who don't know, by the way, today marks the 30th anniversary of the PlayStation 1 launching in the US. So crazy, man. Like the jumping string. Yeah, hold on. Let me. It's the least I could do for you, Corey. Mario's 40th anniversary is this Saturday. Wow. 40th anniversary. Mario's going to be 40. You know what's crazy? Naughty Dog is a 40-year-old studio. Like, is it just me or is that absolutely nuts? Like, I never knew that. Like 40 years, bro? What? I was waiting for Sean Mitchell's super chat to play, but it's still doling out the. Sean, you're saying here, MBG, have you seen Capcom Brazil? They tweeted a picture of the zoo mission from Resident Evil Outbreak, and Dust Golem retweeted, "Is this a sign?" Don't, bro. What are they doing? I didn't see that. What are they doing? They can't mess with us like that. Yo, Resident Evil Outbreak is incredibly underrated. Hold on. Sorry about the mic. I'm sorry. I fixed it. Resident Evil Outbreak is incredibly underrated. Like, I've always wondered why Capcom hasn't done more with it or tried to, because they've tried to do so many different things with Resident Evil in multiplayer, and seemingly nothing has really worked for them. But I feel like, I don't know, Outbreak an Outbreak 3 would be tough to make. Even like doing a remake would be tough because I think there's just a lot of different aspects that would have to change quite dramatically to make it work, to make it feel not stuck in 2005. Dude, I kid you not. To the right of me, Luna's playing with her tail. Okay. Really? That's crazy. What the hell? Come on, boss. Do the high jump. Come on, they got to see at least one high jump. Oh. Come on, boy. I know you can jump higher than that. Let go. All right. And we did just hit 160 likes as well. So you guys are keeping it going. Thank you for that. Wait, Dillo, you're saying the PS6 generation is going to be it's going to be very similar to this one, probably even bigger. You're talking about cross-gen games. Yeah, well, oh, did you send a direct, Josh? Hold on.
Insomniac's output this gen blows my mind, not as much as the hate they get though. Nobody's releasing these sized games at this clip. I think PPL forget.
I just got it now,
MVG,
Josh.
have you seen Capcom Brazil tweeted a picture of the Zoom mission from Outbreak and Dusk Golem retweeted? Is this a sign? Embarrassed smiley face emoji.
Josh, yeah, so just to reiterate what you said, you're talking about how good Insomniac's output this generation has been, but what blows your mind even more is the hate that they get. You're saying nobody's been releasing games of this size at this clip. I mean, I'm at a point where I'm just trying not to entertain it anymore. It's hard not to sometimes. Yeah, I'm fishing for cats, bro. It's hard not to sometimes because it is kind of nonsensical. Where, look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you Insomniac is a perfect studio, a flawless studio, that they should be your number one studio and considered the best in the entire industry. I'm not here to say that. I'm just here to say that, like, dude, some of the hate that they get is quite literally unwarranted. And it does come off as nonsensical because it's like, even if you can't stand games like Miles Morales or Spider-Man 2, and even if you're sick about Wolverine, you got to be able to give credit where it's due. And the fact of the matter for Insomniac is, love or hate their games, they put out objectively high quality games, and they've done so at a very consistent rate, you know? And I feel like that's the just baseline credit that you have to be able to give that studio. And it's kind of like the same thing I say to, like Naughty Dog and people who hate Naughty Dog now, where it's like, listen, man, hate the studio all you want, hate their politics or whatever all you want. That's fine too. But you can't deny that they're some of the most talented developers in the industry. You know what I mean? Like, you just got to be able to, at the very least, if we're going to have rational conversations in this regard, and I'm not saying this to you, Josh, if we're going to have these conversations, you got to be able to give the credit where it's due, give the criticism where you feel it's warranted, but there should always be like a baseline level of credit that it's like they earned it, like that's the thing I don't like to see, is people just kind of strip things away from studios where it's, and games in general, where it's like they would have you believe that these studios, or the people making these games, that they've only produced garbage. I mean, like, literally, like, low quality, just like slop. And it's like, you don't have to love their games, man. You don't even have to like their games, but you can't just tear them down like that. I mean, I guess you can. On the internet, you can kind of do whatever you want. But I think you guys understand what I'm saying. It is strange to see people get so upset at Insomniac. Like they pissed in their Cheerios or something. It's like, I don't know, man. I didn't enjoy Spider-Man 2 as much as the first one, but I just find it strange that people talk about Spider-Man 2 like it's just flat out like a bad game. And I'm like, I don't think you've played a bad game, if that's what you think. It has flaws. And there are definitely aspects of Spider-Man 2 you can criticize, but if you think Spider-Man 2 is a bad game, I don't think you played a bad game. It's DLC. Is it though? Is it DLC? You think so? I would disagree with that. I know, MacTube. I know. Well, this kind of does help me segue to the next topic, though, which is we have another report about Insomniac's Wolverine, specifically what playtesters are saying about it. And this kind of came out of nowhere, and boy, oh boy, is it getting me excited. Raven, you're saying you've been a big fan of Insomniac since the PS1 days. Well, it's fitting, man. It's fitting since the PS1 released 30 years ago today. Yeah, we're going to talk about that tomorrow, Jake. I appreciate you letting me know. I was thinking about lumping that in today with the topics, but I was like, you know what? We'll just talk about the PS6 Wolverine Helldivers. I have something for Metal Gear as well. Tomorrow we'll talk more about Ghost of Yotei. But Insomniac's always been, they've always been doing heavy lifting for PlayStation, with PlayStation. To a lot of people, Insomniac was already a PlayStation studio before they were acquired by Sony. They just made it official. But I have this report here. So last week, a rumor from Insider Gaming suggested that Insomniac Games and Sony could finally
I
be
saw your
readying...
timeline for the state of play.
hold
If
on.
it is going to be a huge stop, I can see an announcement as soon as next week.
I should always give a 1 minute pause before I start reading articles, because every time I do, that's when we get a super chat, which is fine. That's just the timing, though. Lonely Fades, you're saying, I saw your timeline for the state of play. It's going to be huge. Yeah. So actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because this is something I did want to mention to you guys. I put out a post on Twitter yesterday, and because I was thinking about it, and I'm like, wow, all of this stuff seemingly is going to happen within 10 to 12 days, within basically 2 weeks. So I put out this post yesterday, and I said September 22nd to October 2nd, this is what we might be looking at within that time frame. A state of play / showcase, Wolverine full reveal, a new God of War / Santa Monica reveal, Marathon's re-reveal, and Ghost of Yotei releasing. And I forgot to mention that Saros gameplay is expected to show up before the end of the year as well. Now, I'm not saying... I know that a post like that gets people really hyped, and I can't help it. I'm going to hype myself up a little bit. I've already made it clear that if the only thing we get is Wolverine, I'm going to be excited for that, okay? That's really all I need. I agree. What I just described, that's a showcase. So Tom Henderson saying it's a state of play. Jeff Grubb said he's not sure if it's a state of play or a showcase. It could be either one, but he says lean towards a state of play to be safer. Could it be that all we get is Wolverine and then Ghost of Yotei? Yeah, I would still be happy with that. That's still, listen, man, it's the quality of what is being shown, not the quantity. But the reason why I felt the need to put this out here is because, people were asking, where am I getting some of this stuff? Well, let's face it, Marathon has to be re-revealed soon. We know that's happening. Sony literally told us that it was happening this fall. So that's coming. I don't know that people are excited for it, but they need to re-reveal it and give us a new release date, right? Wolverine, according to Tom Henderson, the trailer is done. Like, it's ready to be shown. It's locked and loaded. When it comes to God of War, well, we're hearing that there's a new God of War in development, which shouldn't be surprising. God of War Ragnarok launched, what was it, November? I think it was November of 2022. So we're approaching 3 years since that game came out, which is crazy. Obviously, they've been working on a new God of War since then. They have a God of War 2.5D side-scroller that, according to rumors, was supposed to be revealed earlier this year, but got pushed back a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Marathon was supposed to be releasing this month, right? So when we talk about Santa Monica, we also talk about Cory Barlog's next game. You know, Cory Barlog, he's been working on what Jason Schreier is calling not a new IP, but will feel like a new IP. So he's working on something, and he's been working on it for many, many years now. So I'm not saying that we should for sure expect a God of War reveal in the coming weeks, but it's just, if Sony does want to put on a show, there is a decent chance it could show up. And then also, we just have Saros sitting there, bro. We were told back in February that Saros gameplay is coming. So, I mean, if you're Sony, do you decide not to show it at your upcoming show in September? I don't know. I mean, to me, logic tells me that no, that's exactly where it would show up. So, you know, and yeah, Phantom Blade Zero's release date is supposed to be coming very soon. And let's not forget that Phantom Blade Zero was first revealed at a PlayStation showcase. So they clearly are okay partnering with Sony for something like that. So, look, you know, I did notice some of the replies to that post. Some of the replies were people being like, stop, bro, it's not a showcase. How many times do we have to go through this? And I get it. I'm not going to fight with anybody. I'm not going to try to convince anybody it's a showcase. I'm just saying that, honestly, I'm like saying this to Sony, like, Sony, bro, come on. How could it not be a showcase at this point? Like, what do you like? It feels like if it's not a showcase, Sony's actually going out of their way not to do a showcase. Nah, I know, 0 Point. I know. I feel you, bro. I feel you. I want Sony to come out with that energy again. You know, like, no more talk. Time to show. I could do that. I'll hype it to the moon and back. Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm actually gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna recommend to people, assume it's gonna be a state of play, because Tom Henderson's saying it's a state of play. That's what he's calling it. So that tells me his source has told him that it's a state of play. State of showcase. I don't know. I just hope. Listen, I'm at a point where I don't care what Sony wants to call it. I am at that point where it's like, just make it a good one. You know? Make a bang. Yeah, that's true too. That's true. I mean, if you think about it, games like Horizon 3, the next Gran Turismo, I mean, we're really starting to create distance now between the last time these games were revealed and released. Metal Gear Solid Remake needs to have a codec call that triggers once you watch the repeat of an enemy patrol route. At least they remember their routes and don't wander like a zombie. Dude, really quick, as I'm playing Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake, just to bring that up again, I have no idea, bro, what Konami's going to do. Because, like, if Konami decides to remake Metal Gear Solid 1, I don't know how they do it effectively. Because I feel like they have to remove certain things that are now inside of, that are there with Metal Gear Solid Delta. Just some food for thought there. I don't know how they're going to pull that off. If they decide to go in that direction anyway. But yeah, Spider-Man 3 is another game that's apparently in development. Now, if we're going to be seeing Wolverine, I really wonder. I really do wonder, like, what... I have to wonder if Venom really did just end up getting canceled. For, like, multiple reasons. Because if we're going to see Wolverine first... I mean, we've had like no rumors about Venom. I'm thinking Venom just might not be happening. But I feel like at the same time, he was underutilized to a degree in Spider-Man 2. And I think fans would like to see more of Venom. But it seems like right now the rumors we're hearing, right now, Wolverine is in the discussion, which to me, if it's between Wolverine and Venom, I'm choosing Wolverine every day. But I don't know. Yeah, we've been kind of waiting to see it. Like, is this game real or did it get canceled? I never did get to try No Man's Sky. No, I've seen a lot of video clips of it and I've heard great things. I never did sit down and play it though. MBG, I think Sony is or maybe trying to redefine what a state of play is. Depends on what they say it'll feature. We've had quite a few great state of plays this year and ones before. I think the upcoming one will be big. They could be getting ready to do that. Tarnished. Yeah. Where like basically if Sony wanted to, they could like just put on what will be a showcase, but just call it a state of play. And in the only risk in doing that is it does create a new high expectation for state of play. So it's like there's a catch 22 because if they have enough to show to justify a showcase, they could put on a big showcase. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what Sony's going to do. But I would anticipate a state of play. That's what I'm assuming they're going to announce. It's going to be a state of play. They'll say it's about 40 minutes long. And if I'm being super conservative about it, this is what I think we're going to get. A 40-minute state of play where we're going to get a lot of like third-party stuff, which could be a lot of very exciting third-party stuff. And then the last 10 minutes or so are going to be dedicated to the marathon re-reveal and the full reveal of Wolverine. I think that's what we could get. And to some people that may sound a little bit underwhelming, but it would actually fall perfectly in line with the cadence that Sony's been doing this stuff. This is pretty much what they've done, if we look back at the showcase that Wolverine was revealed at, Sony did a September showcase in 2021, and I think it was actually on this day, by the way. I think it was on this day. I think it was September 9th, 2021. Right? Somebody can fact check me on that. Yeah, really quick. I did want to mention that too. Tony Todd, the voice actor of Venom, did pass away. So that may have caused some, production problems, or maybe they had to rethink production. But when Wolverine was revealed, right? If you guys remember how that showcase went, that showcase was, you had the KOTOR remake at the beginning, and it said, Sony Interactive Entertainment presents, but we know what happened with that. Apparently that's like, Sony seems to not be involved with that anymore. So that was like the opener of the show. But then for the next 30 minutes, the only other thing we saw that was like an exclusive was like Deathloop, which made me like lose my shit. But then it was at the last 10 minutes. They had 10 minutes at the end of the PlayStation Showcase where it was Spider-Man 2, God of War Ragnarok, Wolverine, and I think that was it. And I think Horizon maybe. Maybe they showed another Horizon trailer, I believe. So, you know, like even looking back, and people thought that was a good showcase. I'm like, it just goes to show that Sony doesn't have to go crazy with the showcases to have a good showcase. They just have to have a couple of really solid first party announcements. I want to say a couple, I mean like 2 or 3. Like they don't have to go crazy. But if you look at the way that they've been handling their state of plays, that's basically what they've been doing. They've been doing 40-minute shows. Oh, and that 2021 showcase was 40 minutes long. That's how long most state of plays are now. And that's the path that follows. You know, 25 to 30 minutes of second and third party games. And then the end is dedicated to some first party. And then one big reveal. They could, I don't know. I have to question, like, what is the separating factor? If we have 2 big reveals, now it's a showcase. Perhaps that's how they view it. Sly, you're saying Housemarque made me a fan with Returnal. Still one of my favorite games this generation, so I have high hopes for Soros. Yeah, same here, man. Returnal was fantastic. Returnal's a top-notch game. And I'm really curious to see, like, everything that they learned with Returnal, they're going to bring that to Soros and refine it even further. So, I'm very excited for Soros, bro. Michael says, welcome all new members. Feel free to join the chat. We are very accepting. It's true. It's true. Don't believe the lies. We actually have a great community here. We have a lot of really good people. New Killzone or Resistance. We need a good Sony shooter. Well, yeah, man. I've talked all about the idea of those games coming back. KOTOR is not canceled. Sony is developing KOTOR remake. Well, hold on. I could have swore I heard that Sony was no longer involved. Well, I mean, I Googled it, and the AI overview, which I don't know how accurate this is, but it says no, Sony is likely no longer... Okay, it says likely no longer involved with KOTOR remake. Reports from 2024 indicate they lost interest in Saber Interactive, which took over development from Aspyr. Later confirmed the remake is still in development, but was purchased by a new company, not Sony. It was originally announced as a PS5 exclusive. Yeah, I don't know. It's still in development. It's 100% still in development. It hasn't been canceled. It seems like it's in some kind of development hell, though. And I wonder if that's why Sony maybe was like, you know what? We're going to... Maybe some contracts got canceled, you know? Yeah, I think at this point, people just want it to turn out good, you know? Carl, you're saying strange I got another membership. Maybe YouTube have changed it back to the way it was before. Yeah, I think there was a weird period that they went through for some reason where people who would usually get memberships weren't, but now people who have gotten memberships before, it seems like they're being more evenly distributed. Yeah, that is true. Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still in development. Let's not forget. Wes says, I always get a membership now, it seems. Yeah, that's true. You were on the struggle bus for a while there, Wes. Well, I wanted to go over this quick report. It says last week, a rumor from Insider Gaming suggested that Insomniac Games and Sony could finally be readying a gameplay reveal for Marvel's Wolverine during another State of Play presentation slated for later this month. The game was announced during a PlayStation showcase in September of 2021, However, in late 2023, Insomniac Games suffered a major hack of its staff's personal data in the studio's upcoming projects, mainly Wolverine. This inevitably led to a delay. The game was previously rumored to be targeting 2025 as a release window, but clearly that didn't work out as originally intended. The good news for fans of Marvel's Wolverine is that not only is the unveiling close, but according to the same source, Tom Henderson, playtesters have been very impressed with the game. The insider even hinted that the reveal might come with a release date, though that sounds more like a personal hope than insider knowledge. So here's the full quote from Tom Henderson. Quote, I heard that there was going to be, or there is going to be, a state of play towards the end of the month, and then separately from a person who I've known for years and has given me the most reliable information you can get. He then said that the Wolverine trailer is done. You put two and two together, it suggests that Marvel's Wolverine trailer is done because it's going to be at the state of play in September. It might not be, and if it's not, it will possibly end up at the Game Awards. We all know that Jeff Keighley likes his big reveals, or who knows, maybe there's going to be another event. So it is done. It obviously was delayed to quite a big extent. From what I've managed to hear from people working on the project, obviously the ransomware attack and all of the game leaking is one thing, but then the emotional strain that it places on people when you have all of your information leaked, like your address, social security number, and all that kind of stuff, it's massive. So that obviously delayed the game as well. But from a few playtesters I've been speaking to, they think the game looks fantastic. So that's good news. And fingers crossed we get to see a release date in a couple weeks' time. So this isn't like, he's not overhyping or anything, but I think that this is just some reassuring news, dude. We've been hearing for a long time that now he does say that it looks fantastic. And obviously that I'm assuming what he means by that is that generally speaking, like the entire game is good. That's my interpretation. Maybe I'm hearing what I want to hear, but I don't know, man. Again, like I'm trying to imagine Insomniac making an unfun, like mid Wolverine game. And I'm like, I just don't see that happening, dude. Silksong hits 100 on Metacritic. Whoa. Whoa. Hold on now. What? It's not at 100, but it's at a 98. Based on, so far, 5 critic reviews. Holy crap. Meanwhile, the latest user review, a 1 out of 10 from Fortnite Sigma. Anyway. Fortnite Sigma gives it a 1 out of 10, bro. And you know what? Looking at his review, he's like raging. He's like, F this game and its community. Elitist bleeps. This game is unbalanced bleep. Sounds like bro got filtered pretty hard, man. Not gonna lie. It's at a 95 on OpenCritic with 16 reviews. I think I know what you're talking about. I saw a picture earlier that said a 100 on Metacritic, but I think that was prior to it getting 5 reviews. How crazy would that be if a game could somehow manage to get 100 on Metacritic? Apparently the game is getting review bombed kind of on Steam due to difficulty. Sounds like a Shadow of the Erdtree review bomb. I saw an article when I was scrolling on Push Square that said apparently they're going to be like lowering the difficulty a little bit due to fan pushback. By the way, guys, Michael Warneth may have dropped that 50 bomb on you guys, but we're still going to push for likes. We're sitting at 173 likes, which is awesome. Like, thank you guys so much for that. I want to continue to encourage you guys to hit the like button. It's definitely helping the streams and bringing some new people in, getting some new eyes on the channel. So thank you for those who hit the like button and those who will do so very soon. The backtracking to bosses is what people hate. Damn, Corey's not playing around. I haven't played it, But I've heard good things. I've heard really good things. I guess at some point I'm going to have to check it out. Oh, Jake. I saw that you... What is this? Jake Skew sent me something that looks interesting. Let me go check. I thought that people like that about Hollow Knight, though. Like, its difficulty. Announcing PlayStation 30th memories. Share memories, unboxing a PlayStation or favorite games to celebrate 30 years of PlayStation. This is on the official PlayStation blog. This was just published. They say, while the world was officially introduced to PlayStation back in 1994, this month heralds another special occasion in PlayStation history worth celebrating. September 2025 marks 30 years since PlayStation launched in North America and Europe, bringing players together across the world with the gift of gaming. To keep our 30th anniversary celebration going, we want to see and hear your stories with PlayStation over the last 3 decades. To do that, though, through the month of September, we're inviting players to share the memories of your journey with PlayStation. Here's how. So to participate, starting today through September 23rd, 2025, players can share pictures or videos of their memories with PlayStation, unboxing a console from the original PlayStation to PS5, receiving one as a gift, holding a favorite controller or PlayStation exclusive title on X. Oh, it has to be exclusive. I thought Sony didn't care about exclusives no more, bro. So you can share this on X or Instagram using the hashtag PlayStation 30 memories. Make sure to tell us your name, where you're from, and the story behind your memory. At the end of that submission window, we'll select memories to be included in a 30th anniversary highlight reel to commemorate our journey together and share on our blog and social channels. We can't wait to go on this trip down memory lane with you and continue making new ones. Yo, that's actually really cool. Yo, I'm going to submit something, perhaps. I don't know if I have something, though. With the PS1, geez. It says, here's the fine print. It says, by posting a photo or video with the hashtag PlayStation 30 memories hashtag to X or Instagram between now and September 23rd, you are agreeing that Sony Interactive may use the content, including your social media username, name, and location as described in your post, edit and display it alongside other content, and promote it as part of PlayStation's 30th anniversary campaign. So basically, they're saying, like, once you give it to us, it's ours. Sony should have made a Call of Duty 30th edition. Yeah, did you see that? I should mention that to you guys as well. So I think Matt Piscatella put out the top 20 best-selling games. Really quick, yeah, today is the day that Marvel's Wolverine was announced, by the way. Today marks 4 years since the announcement. So Matt Piscatella put out the all-time top-selling PlayStation video games in the U.S. between the year 1995, so January 1995 up to July 2025. And man, the way people describe this list is the biggest description I've seen is depressing because it's dominated by Call of Duty. I'm going to see if it'll let me bring the picture up. I'll show you. This is actually pretty interesting stuff. Well, I mean, it sounds like it should be interesting, but then you see it's mostly Call of Duty and you're like, actually, is it that interesting? Maybe not surprising though, right? Give me 1 sec. Let me see if it'll... it's looking like it's going to give me a hard time here. Why? Why is it not letting me save it? All right, well, I'll just read it down to you guys because I'll be honest, you're not missing a whole lot here. So the top 20 games of all time, top 20 selling, units sold. Okay, you ready? We're going to do the rundown. Top 20 units sold on PlayStation. all time, 1995 to 2025. Number 1, Grand Theft Auto 5. Number 2, Minecraft. Number 3, Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 4, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Number 5, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. Number 6, Marvel's Spider-Man. Number 7, Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Number 8, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Number 9, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Number 10, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2022. Number 11, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Number 12, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Number 13, The Last of Us. Number 14, God of War 2018. Number 15, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Number 16, Call of Duty Black Ops. Number 17, Rainbow Six Siege. Number 18, Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Number 19, Call of Duty World War II. Number 20, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. So, again, top 20 best-selling games of all time across the entire history of PlayStation. So, the biggest surprise here to me, what is the biggest surprise here? I feel like it's a tie. Well, I don't know. There's a couple of surprises here. Like, for example, the number 3 best-selling game of all time across all of PlayStation, the entire history of PlayStation, number 3 is Red Dead Redemption 2. Listen, I knew Red Dead 2 sold very well. I didn't realize it was the 3rd best-selling on PlayStation of all time, dude. I didn't realize it was like that high up there. Seeing something like GTA 5 at number 1 and Minecraft at number 2, not surprising. Yeah, it's a lot of Microsoft IP on there now. You can see why Microsoft was like, we know how we can dominate PlayStation. We figured it out. Yeah, Red Dead 2 being at number 3 is pretty surprising. Another surprising thing to me here, truthfully, is Spider-Man 2018 being at number 6. Again, I knew Spider-Man sold well for Sony. I didn't realize it was like the number 6 best-selling PlayStation game of all time. Like, of all time. So, like, where's that at now? How many units did that sell? Like, that's got to be over 20 million or something, right? Barely any games past PS4. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just would have thought that would have been lower on the list. Another, I don't know why I'm surprised by this, but The Last of Us, the number 13th best-selling PlayStation game of all time, and then God of War. Dude, do you know what's so impressive about God of War 2018? Do you know what's impressive about God of War 2018 being the 14th best-selling PlayStation game of all time is it was never like remastered or anything. It just, that's it. There's only one version of it. Well, there's a PC version as well, but you get what I'm saying. Like, Sony didn't like re-release it like multiple times and try to like pump up the sales through that. They released it once on PS4 and then once on PC. I think that's pretty impressive. I think everything else that's PlayStation on this list got re-released. So Spider-Man got a remaster. Well, Miles Morales is impressive too at number 12. Maybe that was helped out by the pandemic, because it launched right at the launch of the PS5 and it was cheaper. The Last of Us is good to see. I'm less surprised by The Last of Us just because, I mean, yeah, that you had it released at the end of the PS3, then it was remastered for PS4, and then it got re-released again with Part 1 alongside HBO. But yeah, Call of Duty, bro. Let's see how many times Call of Duty's on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Jesus. Literally almost half of that list is Call of Duty. Yeah, no Last of Us 2 on there. No Gran Turismo on there, which is shocking. I think. Gran Turismo, if I'm not mistaken, is the best-selling PlayStation franchise of all time, and there's no Gran Turismo on here. What other games do you think would have been on here that seem like, it's a little bit surprising they're not? No Horizon. Yeah, I think for me, Gran Turismo's got to be the most surprising. You think The Last of Us 2 didn't hit sales projections? I do wonder what the projections were. It's hard to say. Ratchet and Clank, you would have thought would have been on there. Gran Turismo is probably like number 21, I bet you. Before 2023, these were Activision games. Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of the things that is worth pointing out here is like when you saw the way Sony reacted. Yeah, Knack's not on there, bro. When you saw the way that Sony reacted to Microsoft acquiring Call of Duty, and, Sony basically started to panic at the idea of like, there's no way they're going to pull this off, right? Like off of our system. They're not going to pull Call of Duty off PlayStation. You could see why Sony panicked because it's like, dude, you look at this list. It's like when Jim Ryan said we wouldn't be able to survive, he was not kidding, bro. Like, that's insane. 9 of the 20 top selling games of all time across the entire history of PlayStation are Call of Duty games, bro. And this is why when we see something like Call of Duty Black Ops 7 and we see Battlefield 6, and to be fair, I think Black Ops 7 looks extremely mundane. It looks very underwhelming. But it's like, so wait, like, what does failure look like for Call of Duty? Because what failure looks like for Call of Duty is probably like immense, unbelievable success for like 99% of other studios out there. But that's crazy, man. Call of Duty as a brand is unbelievable. Unbelievable, those numbers. Not even like a sports game, too. Like, that's what's even crazier. Like, the more I think about this list, the more insane it gets, where it's like, bro, even not a single Madden, not a single FIFA game. What? Hold on. How is that even possible? How many copies did Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 sell? It's the fifth best-selling game of all time. It's right behind San Andreas, dude. Spider-Man's right behind Modern Warfare 2019. This is a surprising list the more I think about it. I mean, that's the thing. Call of Duty is like a sports game because it releases annually. Wow. Yeah. Crazy. But you know what? There's a second part to this list. And there's one game on this second list I'm going to read to you that is, I'm not kidding. I had to do like a triple take. I'm like, am I reading this list correctly? So we have the 20 best-selling games of all time. By the way, these lists are both physical and digital. So it's counting both. Top 20 best-selling PlayStation games of all time in the US between January 1995 and July 2025 in dollar sales. So not units sold, but dollar sales. Again, there's one game on this list that I am just like, excuse me? Did I read that right? I'll see if you guys can pick up which game it is. All right. So number 1, Grand Theft Auto 5. Number 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. Number 3, Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 4, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2022. Number 5, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Number 6, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Number 7, Minecraft. Number 8, Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Number 9, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Number 10, Guitar Hero 3, Legends of Rock. Number 11, Marvel's Spider-Man. Number 12, Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Number 13, Call of Duty Black Ops. Number 14, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Call of Duty World War II. Number 15, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Number 16, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 2023. Number 17, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Number 18, Marvel Spider-Man 2. Number 19, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. Number 20, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. So even more Call of Duty, bro. Even more. But which game? Yeah, which game is just like, excuse me, did I read that right? Guitar Hero. Like, what is Guitar Hero 3 doing in the middle of this list, bro? You got Call of Duty, Red Dead, Minecraft, GTA, Guitar Hero, Call of Duty, Spider-Man. Like, what was going on? What was going on with Guitar Hero 3? Yo, that game was amazing, though. Guitar Hero 3. Slash was, look at that. Slash was on the cover of that, bro. And the guitar was like his Gibson Les Paul. But, man, if you were wondering, rest in peace, games industry. I mean, if you were wondering, like, why Microsoft was fighting, seemingly willing to fight to the death over acquiring Call of Duty, I mean, this is insane. This is insane, dude. Like, this was Microsoft's way to be like, all right, well, maybe we don't have to compete anymore. Let's just make that Call of Duty money. And Sony doesn't get hurt by that because they're like, well, we'll just keep making the same money we've been making. It's kind of crazy the way it's turned out. But yeah, man, there you go. That's the list. In case you're interested in the top 20 best-selling games in both units and dollar sales in the U.S. since the time PlayStation released till now. That's what it's looking like. So why do you think Sony wants live service so much?
MBG. Press Win key plus Shift plus S for screenshot crop.
Well, I know how to crop a screenshot, and I don't know what it is. For some reason, when I go to save a picture, maybe you're saying if I crop it and save it again, maybe it'll work. Sometimes when I go to save a picture, and then I try to bring it over as an image here on my streaming software, it works, and then sometimes it just doesn't. I don't know why. Maybe it's the type of file it's saving as. I'm not exactly sure. It's not a huge deal most of the time. UMBG, did you get the Ghost of Yotei controllers? I'm surprised they're still up. I thought they'd sell out fast. I actually decided not. I think some people are feeling what I'm feeling, where it's a little bit of fatigue, where it's like I bought so many DualSenses. I think I'm going to sit this one out. I think the only other, if they do something for Wolverine, if they do something for Saros, I'll probably bite at those. But truthfully, I'm like kind of good with the Ghost of Yotei stuff. But I'm still thinking about it. It's interesting that they're still available. I saw the black controller and I'm like, that one looks pretty cool. That'd be kind of nice to have. But I have to, it's hard. It's getting harder to justify keep buying these DualSenses because I have so many. The plates or the covers for the PS5, not too interested in that. I bought the Spider-Man plates and then I realized like I probably shouldn't have done that because I think I just kind of like bought into the hype with that because I knew I wasn't going to like keep them. Well, to be fair, I have another PlayStation that they're on, but I gave that one to my son. I gave those Spider-Man plates to my son for the PlayStation that's in his room. So it's like, all right, he was hyped about that. I don't regret those. But if I bought the Ghost of Yotei plates, I'm not going to keep them on my PlayStation. I don't know why. I like to keep it stock. The only other thing I would have considered doing is buying like black covers for the Pro. But I'm just good keeping it stock. I don't know. I like keeping things stock. I don't know why. I like being able to customize, like having that option if I want to do it. Finally got your 30th anniversary controller, buddy. Good stuff, man. Yeah, the 30th anniversary line that Sony put out was awesome. I have I have the 30th anniversary slim PS5, and Mrs. MBG actually uses that one. We keep it in the living room. It looks great. Put the disc drive on it recently. XS, you're saying you only bought the Spider-Man 2 and Astrobot controllers. I have the Astrobot one and the Spider-Man controller, actually. Still livid there was no FF7 controller plates. Yeah, you would have thought that they would have done something. I don't know. Something happened. There's like some bad blood, seemingly, between Sony and Square. I don't know if it's maybe bad blood is too dramatic, but something broke down with these companies. They entered some kind of like into some kind of partnership and agreement, and they thought it was going to be very fruitful. And it seems like Square was extremely underwhelmed and disappointed with the results, and seemingly were like, we want to get the hell out of here. And yeah, I just think it didn't really work out for them. I saw people talking about that, Morgan, but I didn't get that email. I saw it floating around. Square blamed Sony for their flops, like Forspoken and Foam Stars. I mean, I think both parties are at fault. I think Square should have known that those games were probably not going to be fair with Forspoken. It had potential, but then when it was like shaping up to become the final product, we were like, oh wait, hold on though. Foam Stars, yeah, I don't know what anybody was thinking with that. How do you think they're going to keep the Wolverine combat from getting too repetitive, too fast? That's a good question. I mean, I don't know, man. I guess there's a couple different things that they could probably insert into the game to change the pacing of it, so you're not just doing the same thing. I don't know. It really, I think, boils down to the upgrades and like the skill trees and how different Wolverine can feel to play when you're 75% into the game compared to 20%. I think it's really going to hinge on that, giving him a lot of different abilities, a lot of different, maybe even combos that you can unlock. Different ways to just wreck people ultimately. I think that will go a long way in keeping it from getting too repetitive. One of the things that's going to be so different about Wolverine compared to Spider-Man is Spider-Man has all these gadgets and stuff, and if you played Spider-Man 1 or 2 or Miles Morales, you know that was a major part of the game, like unlocking new gadgets and how you could kind of use them in combat to change the flow of it. I'm not sure what they're going to do. Now, don't spoil anything for people who looked into the leaks. I didn't look this deeply into it. I don't know what they're going to have in place of that. This is where I'm thinking like maybe they'll just have different crazy combos you can do, or like Berserker Rage stuff you can do that maybe similar to like what you see with God of War, where Kratos has that Berserker Rage, that, their Spartan Rage is what they call it. And you can kind of upgrade that and do different things with it. Maybe they'll do something similar to that. Forgot to give Luna some of her trees. Tornado Claw. Well, yeah, that's the thing. He has the claws. Oh, I think there's a mosquito in here. Bro, just had a lot go on right there. Boss, first of all, what the hell, dude? I just had to clap a mosquito, literally. I can't believe Boss just did that. They'll give him the bone claws. If you use them too much, they'll break. You have to wait for them to grow back. Yo, well, you can still punch people, right? I would assume you'll be able to do that. Like, you'll be able to retract the claws and just, like, beat the living shit out of people. That would be cool. Having a whole... That is reminiscent of Kratos, actually, in God of War, where if you didn't want to use the axe, or if you didn't want to use the Blades of Chaos, you could just use your fists. I can't believe Boss did that, man. But I mean, yeah, man. I think it's reassuring to hear that Wolverine, going back to the topic we were originally starting with before we started talking about that PlayStation sales data. I think it's reassuring to hear that playtesters are really enjoying Wolverine. I'd much rather be hearing that than hearing like, yeah, I don't know, playtesters are kind of mixed on it or something, Now, he did say like the game looks fantastic. I don't know if he's literally just saying like the game looks pretty. I don't know. I don't think that's what he means. That would be kind of weird to say. Like, I don't think anybody's expecting Wolverine not to be a good looking game. But yeah, man, we want to see like some awesome gameplay. We want to see some exciting gameplay, I think, is really what we're looking for. We played 3 Spider-Man games, and they, by the time you're finishing up Spider-Man 2, it does get a little bit repetitious. It's like, oh, okay, we could use a change of pace now. And I think Wolverine could be that perfectly if they nail it. Yeah, we need it. We need fast-paced, aggressive combat. What's the traversal going to be? He can't swing around. Well, I think the leaks, and I don't think this is a major leak. It's like, apparently the game's going to be wide linear. It's not going to be open world, but there will be some levels where you can traverse, and it seems like you're going to basically use your claws and do. And I don't know if they changed this. They could have changed this. I'm not sure. Like, you're basically going to be able to do a big like jump, essentially. Like, you can just like jump around and scale walls and shit and trees and just like climb with your claws. So yeah, you could do like some wall running and stuff. Basically like parkour, like intense parkour, it seems. Not sure. That's the part I'm a little bit unsure of, where it's like I have to see how that's going to work in the game, because I don't know. I like imagined Logan using having a motorcycle or something, but if the game's not open world, you could kind of understand why they would struggle to implement that properly as a means of transportation. I'm not sure. We will see. Hopefully we're going to see very soon. But I don't know. I have high hopes for it. Wolfcore. What villain do you want to see as the main villain of the story? I mean, God, I think a given is you're going to have to see Sabretooth in there. I don't know if he'll be like the main villain though. What's the other one? Red Samurai, I think the name of I think that's what his name is, Red Samurai. I don't know. It's really tough. I don't want to keep talking about it because some of this stuff did leak. And again, we don't know what changed, but it's hard to talk. It's hard to speculate about the stuff because, Omega Red. My bad. Are you sure? Well, what am I thinking Red Samurai then? Oh, no, you're right. Wait. No, hold on. So there's Omega Red and... Oh, I think it's Silver Samurai. My bad. I just got the color wrong. Yeah. Yeah, my bad. Silver Samurai. I was basically getting those two confused. You want to see Hulk? I've seen people talk about that. I wouldn't anticipate Hulk showing up. I'm not expecting that. I think the game's story will link up the X-Men. Well, yeah, apparently, Shems, that's cursed, bro. Apparently, they are going to have X-Men games at some point. That is something that they're kind of working on. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, the Red Samurai in Death Stranding 2, bro. That's going to be the main villain of Wolverine for PS5. Yo, that'd actually be kind of sick. Yeah, I'm seeing people talking about Wolverine. Like, there's some people, hoping that that Insomniac gives us some kind of update today, because it's, you know, doesn't look like they are though. Yeah, I think they'll just stay quiet about it until they're ready to show off that new trailer. Yeah, there's no denying though, the expectations for Wolverine I think are very high. I think that unfortunately, no matter what Insomniac shows, no matter how awesome it may look, I do think you're going to have, certain groups of haters that are just going to be like, nah. But putting that aside, I don't know. I think that they have a real chance to generate some excitement. What do I expect from the trailer? I mean, I would expect it to be a pretty lengthy trailer. I don't expect it to be short. I'm not expecting like a minute-long trailer. I would be pretty disappointed if it was short. They know we've been waiting for a long time. So I think they'll have to show us something, pretty beefy, if you will. And I would expect it to be a healthy mix of gameplay with some story, give you a good idea of like, this is what the game is. If they do some kind of like CGI or cinematic, like that's not going to fly. They know that. They absolutely know that. So I think at the very least, we're going to have a good idea of what the gameplay is going to be like. MBG Steam payment companies want to crack down on consoles too with ID and credit card requirements. Sony and Nintendo could lose a lot of money with U18s not being able to purchase, or under 18s. I saw people talking about that, Lux, like concerned that if it was going to come to console next. And honestly, like once I saw this hitting Steam, I was like, yeah, it's probably just a matter of time, unfortunately, till it starts hitting console. And I don't know. Like, I don't know what Sony or Nintendo, I don't know how they'll prepare for that, because, yeah, there's no denying that they will lose some sales. Certainly. But I don't know. We'll see what happens on that front. They re-reveal the first trailer. Jake, you're saying MBG The Leak said that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is releasing before 2027? I don't think so. Man. From Software has a new project. Wonder what it could be. Yeah, they always have multiple projects in development at any given time. Always. I wonder if any of those projects are in collaboration with Sony. Visa's cracking down on gaming. MBG, have you covered the latest PS6 handheld leak? It leaked in its entirety. Wes, it depends. When did the leak that you're referring to come out? Because there's a good chance we did cover it already. Unless there's something new that just came out that I missed. Like, I think it would have had to have come out while I was streaming. Moore's Law is dead this morning. Oh, this morning. Oh, okay. So I did miss it. Well, when you say it leaked in its entirety, I feel like the last leak he put out there, it felt like it was pretty much all of it, right? Except he was missing the RAM. I guess what I'm trying to ask is, like, what else did he... Bro, Tom Cruise is banned from buying a Bugatti because he didn't know how to open the door. What? Where are the reps at? Or the raps? Yeah, I don't know. Digital Dude said he was here earlier. He said he was going to drop some raps, but I don't know. Maybe he had something else to do. No, Tom Cruise is not banned from this stream. Not yet, anyway. Yeah, no, I didn't see this yet. Oh, you're saying that's in Moore's Law's Dead's own words, not mine. Well, I guess I'll have to look into this. I think I saw his video pop up. He's been doing a lot of leaking when it comes to upcoming PlayStation hardware, like the more technical side of it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it was his podcast that he put out, right? 3 hours ago. Let's see. I'm looking at it now. Well, yeah, he's covered multiple things in this. Yeah, I can't tell if this is if he's revealing anything new or if he's kind of just talking more extensively about the stuff he leaked prior. When does he talk? Okay, yeah. So he has a section here. PS6 handheld fully leaked. Yeah, I'm just looking over it now. It looks pretty. Yeah, it looks like he's basically going over once again everything. So for those who missed it though, because there might be some people here who are like unaware of what exactly leaked with this PlayStation handheld. The PlayStation handheld is real. It's the PS6 handheld. That seems to be what it's going to be launching alongside the actual PlayStation 6. It's a monolithic 135 millimeter die manufactured by TSMC on a 3 nanometer node. It's going to have 4 Zen C6 cores plus 2 Zen 6 LP cores, so 6 cores in total, with 4 megabytes of L3 for Zen 6C CCX. I don't know what some of this stuff means. 192-bit LPDDR5X memory controller with support for up to 48 gigabytes of RAM. 16 RDNA 5 compute units. The GPU clocked at 1.20 gigahertz in handheld mode and 1.65 gigahertz in docked mode. Backwards compatibility with PS5 and PS4 generations. No mention of PS3. Canis includes a micro SD slot, M.2 SSD slot, haptic vibration, dual microphones, and a touch screen. Manufacturing is planned for mid-2027 with a fall 2027 release frame. The document clearly states that the LP cores are for the operating system and free up to 20% performance of for the CPU. Moore's Law's Dead says he expects Sony to choose between 24 gigabytes and 36 gigabytes of RAM because developers tell him it's necessary to run next-gen games. So rasterization performance is estimated to be between half the PS5 and 75% of the PS5 in docked mode. Ray tracing performance is estimated to be 1.3 to 2 times 6 PS5 in docked mode. Once you factor in FSR4 support for PS6 Canis, the real-world performance should exceed PS5 in games that are patched for this device, but perform slightly lower when non-patched plus non-ray tracing games. So that's interesting, that last part. Moore's Law's Dead is saying when you put all of this together, like essentially if you want to know like what's the bottom line here, when you put all of this together, real-world performance of this PlayStation 6 handheld should ultimately result in games running better, games that are specifically patched for it. And that's the thing. It seems like developers are going to have to patch games to support it, kind of like you see how like Steam Deck Verified or whatever. Like just put a little bit of extra effort into it. You put all this together, it should result in patched games performing better than they would on the actual PS5, the base PS5. Um, so yeah, very interesting stuff here, man. I'm really curious to see how Sony plans on revealing that. Astral Realm Gamers. I like that name. Astral Realm Gamers. Yeah, by the way, guys, make sure you continue to hit that like button. We still have at least one, maybe two more topics to talk about here. Wait, wait, what'd I do? Shems, what'd I do? Hold on. What's wrong? Am I missing something? Mr. B, yeah, apparently it's based off of what Moore's Law is that is saying, the handheld PlayStation 6, when it's docked, it should perform better than the base PS5. All right. We do have to talk about Helldivers 3, though. My leg fell asleep. Holy shit. Oh, man, my right leg fell asleep. Hold on. It'll do 1080p. Well, I'm telling you, man, I really think, based off of everything we know about the PlayStation 6 handheld, I think Sony's going to be trying to offer something that can be viewed as some type of competitor to the Switch 2. I really think that. I think this is Sony making it known that, like, you know, they understand the Switch 2 is going to get immense third-party support. You look over that list of games, you know, the top 20 best-selling games of all time for PlayStation, you can see how critical third-party and Call of Duty specifically is to, you know, the overall success of PlayStation to make it what it is. So knowing that, yeah, Switch 2 is going to get Call of Duty, it's going to get everything eventually. Apparently, it's going to be getting all the Resident Evil games. And it's going to be an affordable device. That's the big thing here. It's going to be an affordable device that can be docked, it is. The Switch 2 is a relatively affordable device that can be docked. It can be played in handheld mode. And listen, man, I know that people like kind of want to clown on the Switch 2 sometimes and be like, who wants to play games that are running at like 30 FPS or whatever? Like, you know, a lot of people seem unimpressed with what the Switch 2 is offering performance-wise. But the reality is a lot of people are going to buy it not caring. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just not going to care. If it's even close to a PS5, it's a game changer. Just a portable PS5 that you can play with a DualSense anywhere. It's going to sell like crazy. Well, yeah, man, there's just so many questions we don't have answers to, you know, like how will this impact the home PlayStation 6 console, development for games on the home PlayStation 6 console? Will Sony have exclusives? Are they going to have timed exclusives? What will the DualSense 2 be? There's so many questions we still don't have answers to, and we're going to get answers to those questions slowly over time. But there's no denying that if the question, I think one question we do have an answer to is how interesting and different is the PlayStation 6 rollout and that generation going to be? The answer is very, seemingly. Very. Yeah, and like the battery life, we have to wonder about that. Shams, you're saying you don't need a PS6. I think a lot of people, I think Sony's marketing approach to the PS6 is going to be understanding that a lot of people don't need it. I think there's a lot of people who want the PlayStation 6. I think there's just as many, if not way more people who don't want it right now. And a lot of people who feel like they definitely don't need it. And I think Sony's marketing beats for the PlayStation 6 are going to be about, you know, really trying to tell you why you may not need it, but you're going to want it. You know, I think that's really what they're going to try to lean into. I'm really curious, though, and I've talked about this before, but I'm really curious to see how intensely they market the handheld, or like the angle they take with the handheld, because I really feel that Sony's approach with this PlayStation 6 handheld is going to be, if you're happy on PS5, we still may have a device for you that can technically be considered, and I know that this is a stretch, but this is how Sony will probably view it, a next-gen device. Like, will the next-gen PlayStation 6 handheld, will it be as powerful as a PS5 Pro? No. Will it be, like, you know, cutting edge in terms of the highest resolutions, 4K, 120 FPS? No, it's not going to do that stuff. But for Sony, from PlayStation's perspective, has PlayStation ever made something like this before? No. So for PlayStation, it's going to be novel, is what I'm trying to say. There's going to be a novelty factor, believe it or not, like with the next PlayStation generation, where they're going to do something they've never done before. And it's, yes, they've done handhelds before, but they've never created like a hybrid type console. They never really created something like what this PlayStation 6 handheld is going to be. And I think that's going to be what intrigues people. I think you're going to have your audience that's interested in the PlayStation 6 home console and the audience that's going to upgrade to that day one. But I think all the people who are like, I'm not worried about the PS6. I think they're going to see this handheld and be like, whoa, wait, hold on, Sony, what's that? What's this handheld thing you're doing? That's different from you. I wasn't expecting that. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, but I just have this feeling that might be the angle that they take. We'll see, though. I mean, I think there's a lot of PlayStation players who buy the Switch 2 before that time. I think there are a lot of PlayStation players who already bought the Switch 2. And so I think for them, it's going to have to be like, well, what role will this handheld play for me? But I'm curious. I'm just so curious about how they're going to roll this device out, because I pretty much know what to expect with the home console, generally speaking, But this PlayStation handheld is a bit of a wild card and not something I was really expecting. I had this idea in my head that if Sony was going to do a handheld, again, it was going to be something like almost somewhat separate to a degree. Not literally like this is a PlayStation 6 handheld that's going to be part of the PlayStation 6 family of devices. I wasn't expecting that. And that really changes my perspective on, I guess, my own expectations of what this next generation is going to offer and what it's going to be like. By the way, guys, we are sitting at 181 likes. Thank you guys so much for that. We're going to move on to another topic here. Probably not going to talk about it for too long, but just something I want to let you guys know about, because some people seem to be surprised by this, and it was very casually announced. But before we do that, just make sure you keep hitting that like button if you haven't. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Hit the like button if you haven't. Thank you if you did. I don't know how you could keep hitting the like button. But yeah, hit that like button. I have a report here. Helldivers 2. No, Helldivers 3. So, it says, while Helldivers 2 has been getting continual support in the form of major updates bringing in new content to the game, developer Arrowhead Game Studios has also revealed that it has big plans for the eventual sequel to the title. In a post on their official Discord server, the CEO of Arrowhead revealed that a social hub was already something that they have on the planned feature list for the next Helldivers game, or Helldivers 3. His message came as a response to a player asking if Helldivers 2 would ever get a social hub where all players can hang out, similar to something like the Tower in Destiny, or in the Destiny games. In its current state, Helldivers 2 is obviously not going to be getting that. They have the spaceship, which is somewhat of a hub, for up to 4 players. But yeah, this is something that has caught some people very much off guard because, um, basically Arrowhead CEO just flat out. Oh wait, hold on. Pause for a moment. Dying Light the Beast will not have a physical copy at release. Wait, what? They have 100% said it's not for Helldivers. It's for Arrowhead's next game, not Helldivers 3. Arrowhead has been clear that they will self-publish their next game. Well, hold on. On that, let me double check that. I'm pretty sure he was directly referencing like Helldivers 3. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Oh, okay. You know what? Hold on. Wow, that's surprising. Well, I mean, shit, man. Like the way this reads, though, he followed up saying it was not Helldivers 3. Okay. Yeah, because I'm reading it now. This person says, I realize it's probably never going to be a thing in Helldivers 2, but for the next game, I'd really appreciate a social hub space station. Now, the assumption on my part, and I think many others, is when this user says, but for the next game, they mean like the next Helldivers game. And the CEO says it's on the feature list for the next one. I'm not going to lie. I'm glad they clarified that because I absolutely read that as Helldivers 3. I'm not going to lie. But the thing is, yeah, damn. Yeah, time to change the title. Hold on. Helldivers 3 or new game? Question mark. Okay. Hold on. You know what though? Hold on. This does make sense because deconfirmed. Helldivers 3 deconfirmed. This makes sense because they did state Arrowhead that they were making a new game and they want to do something separate on their own. That's not Helldivers because Sony owns Helldivers. But surely they're going to make a Helldivers 3, right? Like there's no reality in which they don't eventually make a Helldivers 3. Heaven Divers? Dude, the whole thing about Helldivers 3 is that, like, if you look at the trajectory of success for Helldivers 2, the biggest thing for me is that Helldivers 2 was still made on a bit of a budget. You know? It was made on a bit of a budget where it's like the budget of Helldivers 1 to Helldivers 2 is obviously like double or tripled, but it's still not like the biggest budget out there. The craziest thing about the idea of Helldivers 3, and I don't know that Arrowhead would be on board with this, it really comes down to what they want to do. The idea is Sony, we're going to give you all the money. Like, however much you want, we're going to give it to you because this is Helldivers 3, bro. That sounds crazy. Like, that to me has to get Arrowhead a little bit excited. You know, where Sony would fund the shit out of a Helldivers 3. And, I mean, let's face it, they probably have a shit ton of ideas of what Helldivers 3 could be or things that they could only have dreamt of doing with Helldivers 2, but due to, budget constraints and whatnot. It's just not possible. Or maybe they weren't able to scale up enough and hire enough. But Arrowhead seems to really want to kind of stick to their roots of being independent and a relatively small to mid-sized team, which you can respect that. And they might want to just do that. They might just want to do that. And that's fine too. But I guess I'm just saying that eventually Helldivers 3 is going to have to happen, right? And when it does, I imagine it's going to be a really, really, really big deal. But yeah, I didn't realize that when the CEO said that. I really did read that as like, damn, bro just casually confirmed Helldivers 3. But yeah, now it's bringing back a memory of when we covered, there was, I think, a quote from the CEO earlier this year where he said, yeah, they're looking to make their own game and self-publish, but they're open to working with Sony again in the future as well. So you could almost read that as like, yeah, we'll do another Helldivers eventually with Sony, but first we want to go do our own new game first. And that makes sense. They should do it that way. You have the major success of Helldivers 2. You're going to support that for many years. Make your own new game, publish it on your own, establish a greater sense of independence separate from Sony. But then you can always do Helldivers 3 with Sony, and why not have both things? Although it does also depend on what their next game is going to be, because the assumption, I guess, is their next game, if it's going to be self-published and it's going to be something new, the assumption is it's going to be a live service. Can they run 2 live service games at one time? I don't know about that. You would think that their next game would probably mean the winding down of, of Helldivers. They're going to make it an Xbox exclusive. Yeah. Heaven Divers, Xbox exclusive, bro. MBG, off topic, but what is your favorite melee combat system? Mine is Elden Ring. Ragnarok is a close second. I don't like DMC5's combat, though. I've always loved the Souls, and Elden Ring. I've always loved that combat. It's immensely satisfying. But also, Sifu. Talking about melee combat, oh man, Sifu is on another level with melee combat. God of War is fantastic as well. Yeah, love the feeling of God of War. I'm wondering if Wolverine can end up being up there. The melee combat in X-Men Origins Wolverine from Activision 2009, that was really good. That was very good. Mind's Eye has goated combat. Are we sure? They've stated that they want Helldivers 2 to be a 10-year game, so I would hope that they have no plans of slowing it down. Let's see. Helldivers came out in 2024, so if they really are serious about making it a 10-year game, the soonest you would get Helldivers 3 would be 2034. Yo, Helldivers 3 to help close out the PS6 gen? I don't know. There's some weirdness going on. It's slight. It's not intense. It's just there's slight weirdness. I get the feeling, and I just think that this is an obvious thing. I'm going to be honest. I don't think this is, when I say this, I don't think there's any bad blood between Sony and Arrowhead, at least not any obvious bad blood. Like, they seem very cool with each other. I get the sense that Arrowhead would prefer, like, they very much wish that they could be the owners of the Helldivers IP. And I think that's obvious. I think, of course, they find this major success. They would love to own that IP. But Sony owns it. And I think what you see is Arrowhead is not, I don't think that they have the same level of ambition that Sony does. That's what I'm trying to say here. And I think that could prove to be problematic in the long run for Sony. Not so much Arrowhead, but certainly for Sony, where Sony has the biggest ambitions, where Sony wants the Helldivers 3. Sony wants to make Helldivers the biggest thing in the world, and they want it to be as big as Call of Duty eventually. Like, something like that. That's what Sony wants. And you know why they want that, And to be fair, you see the level of success that Helldivers has achieved. It's like, yeah, they're already doing a Helldivers movie. They want everything to be Helldivers. And I get this sense, to be honest, that Arrowhead is kind of not in alignment with that. Where I think that, like, yeah, they want to reach more players. They want to continue to support the game. But I just get the sense that Arrowhead's like, I don't think they just want to be the Helldivers studio, is what I'm trying to say. I mean, they say they want to support it for 10 years. And sure, they could support it for many years, but it's like, if you're going to make another game and it's not Helldivers, like, how's that going to go? I don't know. Like, the future for Arrowhead and the future for Helldivers is going to be a fascinating one to watch, because I think you see they're a little bit at odds, just a little bit. I think Arrowhead wants to go in like a different direction than the direction that Sony wants to go in. I think if it were up to, like, if Sony owned Arrowhead, what I think they would do is they're like, you're going to hire 100 more people. We're going to give you a whole new studio, and you guys are going to we're going to make this the biggest thing ever. Like, this is going to be the biggest IP since, again, like Call of Duty or something. I think that's what Sony would be doing if they owned Arrowhead. Or like if a different studio underneath that Sony owns made it. But I don't know. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe Sony has a completely different view of it. But I don't know. Everything I hear from Sony's obsessed with having majorly successful live service games, and that's exactly what this is. So it's like, from this point forward, like, what's the name of the game in live service? The name of the game is when you get your live service pot of gold, or when you get your live service cash cow, you grow it. You grow it. Then you milk it, and then you grow it, and then you milk it. That's how it's done. You think Arrowhead pushed Sony to put Helldivers 2 on Xbox, and Sony obliged, obviously, to stay on good terms? Same way they did with Kojima. I think Sony, I think, is learning that they have to be a little bit more friendly and open to this type of stuff. Especially after, again, the falling out with Square Enix and the exclusivity, and how that just like didn't work out for them. Milk and grow, MVG 2025. There you go. Arrowhead said it was all. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true, Mr. B. Very true. I forgot about that. They did go on record saying it was all Sony. But I think that's part of it. I think Sony absolutely wants to stay on good terms with Arrowhead. Why would they not want to? I mean, think of it this way. Arrowhead was just a studio that Sony had a partnership with, where probably hardly anybody at Sony was paying attention to Arrowhead. In fact, I would bet that some Sony executives forgot that Arrowhead was even a studio they were partnered with. And Helldivers 2 was even a game that they had. I bet you there are some executives that they were just that unaware. The moment Helldivers 2 took off, you better believe every Sony board member and everybody at that company is like, holy shit, who are these guys? Wait, who are these guys that we were partnered with? Now everybody knows who Arrowhead is. Nobody at Sony is walking around unaware of Arrowhead games and Helldivers 2. I assure you of that. And in a similar way that if you look out there in the gaming landscape, who doesn't know about Helldivers 2? Who doesn't know about Arrowhead now? So it's a crazy success story for the studio, man. And it's cool to see the way it worked out. I do wonder what the next page in the, what the next chapter will be in the book of Sony and Arrowhead's partnership. Maybe it is just keep maintaining the game, keep supporting it for years to come, and that can be more than enough. I have seen some people complaining about the engine though and optimization and how there's still work that needs to be done. Um, Here's a question. Yeah, it's selling well on Xbox. It's sold well in general. It's like a top seller. Here's a question though, and if I'm going to play devil's advocate here, right? Well, actually, no, wrong terminology to use. If I'm going to be hyper cynical, right? If I'm going to be the most cynical, do we think Sony like kind of secretly wants Arrowhead's next game to not do well? It's like, oh, what a shame. You guys you made a new game and you tried to self-publish and it's not Helldivers, so nobody really cared and it just didn't work out for you guys. No, if you guys want to make Helldivers 3, we're ready, bro. We're ready to do it with you. All you got to do is sign on the dotted line. I mean, I do wonder, like, if that's. I don't think it's so much about Sony buying them, because Sony owns the IP. Like, they own Helldivers, but they don't own the talent that is responsible for making it. So it's like, in a sad way, it's like, yeah, from a corporate level, and again, this is the ultra cynicism. From a corporate level, Sony definitely is like, wait, we don't want you to self-publish your own game. Like, come back to us. Like, we'll do Helldivers 3 together. That's what Sony wants. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Arrowhead in their next game that they're making, if it doesn't do as well as Arrowhead would need it to, I don't know. You could I don't know, man. I don't know their numbers. Arrowhead might be set for life, bro. Like, Arrowhead could maybe put out like 5 failed games and it's like, doesn't matter. Like, they have that FU money. You know what I mean? They very well could. I mean, Helldivers is a massive success. Like, it's that successful where it's like, we don't, like, if anything, Helldivers 3 is just break glass in case of emergency. So I don't know. It's just super interesting because you would have never expected this. I assure you, if Sony had just an inkling, just a modicum of sense of like what this game was going to do, they would have overpaid. Like, dude, they would have offered to buy Arrowhead for like $2 billion or like just something absurd. They would have absolutely. Basically, they were so hyper fixated on Bungie that they completely missed, like, bro, you got your guys right here. Literally, like those emails that you probably forgot to respond to. All right, that's being too harsh. I doubt Sony forgot to respond to emails. But you know what I'm saying? Like, those guys that are definitely not the priority, those are the guys you need to absolutely make the priority. And it's hard to blame Sony because who saw this coming? Nobody saw this coming. Even the people at Arrowhead knew. They're like, holy shit, we knew we were making a good game, but we had no idea. So you can't really blame Sony for not having that level of foresight, but it is just ultimately ironic that Sony vastly overpays for a company that's clearly like struggling and dying out slowly and like really on their way down. And then Sony has to focus on not recouping their losses, but now just saving the studio. Meanwhile, the studio that is going to deliver them a worldwide, mega hit live service title just came out of nowhere. And they're like, wait, when did we sign this game with you guys? Like 10 years ago? Oh, shit. Okay. It's crazy. It's crazy how it worked out that way. But I'm sure Sony learned some valuable lessons along the way. You can never really predict these things. Usually you can, anyway. Sony's philosophy in the gaming space is to grow the pie, not to steal slices from other developers. Grow the pie. I like that. Yeah, I don't think Sony's. I mean, there's some things they do on a corporate level that definitely come off as a bit cynical, but generally speaking, I do think that I think there are some good people in the PlayStation division that actually are somewhat passionate about gaming and care about the space. I mean, there has to be, right? You can't run a brand this successfully without having some good people there that know what they're doing. Um, but yeah, it's like I say, Sony has a very corporate ambition, more broadly speaking, where they want to continue to pursue that live service success. So, all right. Let's see. Where are we at here? Give me one sec. Check something here. Okay. Um, so I do have one more small topic I want to talk to you guys about before we wrap up. And so what I'm going to do is announce the last call here, if you will. If you guys want to show any more support for the channel before we wrap up today's stream, we did hit 76 members. Michael Warneth dropped 50 earlier, which is amazing. Corey dropped 25. We had some super chats and direct donations. If you guys want to drop any more before we finish up the last topic, get a couple reps in, now would be the time to do it. But the final topic I want to discuss. Oh, and we are just 5 likes away from hitting 200. So be sure to hit that like button. It'd be great if we could crack the 200 mark. What do I think of the new Xbox deal with LG? They will bring xCloud to select cars. Now your car is an Xbox? I didn't see this, Carlos. I'm not surprised. That's pretty funny though. Did they put out the image of a car saying this is an Xbox? Yeah, so the last topic I want to talk to you guys about is an update from Konami on what's going on with Metal Gear Solid Delta performance patches. This is something a lot of people have been interested in, and they're being really low key about it, but they have responded. Is that really what they said? Xbox that goes vroom? Damn, dude. The Xbox that goes vroom. Nice. So over on the official Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater website, they say update notice version 1.1.3 release for consoles. Excuse me. And this is a patch that already released, but they have feedback overview. And I just think a lot of people don't know about this, but Konami says here, we sincerely appreciate the many players who are enjoying the game and sharing valuable feedback and issue reports. We are actively investigating and working on the below items. And here's the list. On Steam, they have 2 things they're working on: support for 21:9 aspect ratio displays and an in-game feature to check system specifications. But then they list here PlayStation 5. On PlayStation 5, they're working on an option to select a preferred rendering mode when playing on PS5 Pro, which is, I think, kind of crazy that doesn't already exist and that we have to wait for it, but they are acknowledging it and it's coming. And then they say across all platforms, improvements to overall performance stability. They say, please note that we may need some time to review and address the above points. We will share details on future updates as soon as they are finalized. Thank you for your patience and continued support. So I had to mention this because I'm still playing Metal Gear Solid Delta right now. And yes, Konami definitely deserves the flack that they've gotten for at least, I can't speak to the regular PS5 version or the Xbox Series versions or the PC version, but for the PS5 Pro, it's not that it's unplayable. Most of the game is playable and it's good. But there are many sections of this game where normally I don't even notice stuff like this. It is very noticeable where, like, I'll give you an example. I'm playing the game last night and I'm in Grozny Grad, and I'm at that part of the game where you have to find Rykov and steal his clothes or whatever so you can disguise yourself. And there's this one section in this building where if you go in there, there's like 7 scientists like walking around. Dude, if you go in there, the frame rate tanks like below 30. It feels like. It's crazy. And as long as you're in that room moving around, it's like, I don't know, it just becomes a choppy mess. And the problem is not that one area. The problem is there are many areas in the game where anytime things start to happen, like when I was on the mountain base and suddenly I alerted a helicopter and all the enemies are descending on me, it's like, dude, the frame rate just plummets. And now I understand, as I'm playing the game, it's like, now I understand what Digital Foundry was saying, where it's like, it's not just like 1 or 2 areas where you can just get through it and overlook it. It's actually like pretty much any time in this game, things start to get really active and intense, at least on the Pro, in my experience, you get some gnarly frame drops, dude. Like I can't remember the last time I played a game where it's like the frames were dropping this bad. So it is very unfortunate, but I'm still overall enjoying returning to Metal Gear. There are many other areas of the game where it's perfectly fine, perfectly playable, and not experiencing these issues whatsoever. But yes, this is unacceptable. Konami should have had, they should have had multiple options ready to go for the PS5 Pro when they launched this game. And I just hope at this point that they can get these patches out sooner rather than later. But I wanted to give you guys that update because I know a lot of people were unsure, like if they were even acknowledging this, if they were even, um, working on it, and they are. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It seems like they were striving to hit a consistent 60 FPS or relatively consistent 60 FPS on the PS5 Pro, but dude, it's at a point, I'm not kidding, where, and I know this sounds pathetic, but it's just the honest truth. I would rather, if they can't promise that these frame dips wouldn't happen in a performance mode, I would much rather just play at a locked 30, where it's like, dude, like some of these areas, especially when there's like flames and like barrels blowing up or something, it's like, Jesus, dude. Like it feels like my game's like about to freeze in some rare instances. I'm like, what is going on right now? Lady Gamer, all right, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, we're gonna be wrapping it up soon. But yeah, I can't deny that the nostalgia factor is very strong for Metal Gear Delta. And the game is beautiful. The game is absolutely gorgeous. So even though it's struggling in performance on the PS5 Pro, it is, I still find myself just kind of in awe when I'm watching the cutscenes, and I'm just sometimes moving through the environments. I'm like, this game is incredible looking, dude. So, yeah, Konami, they're working on it. Hopefully this will be a problem of the past very soon. But yeah, before I wrap up here, so I'm going to do a couple reps for you guys. We'll do a couple reps since we hit our goal of 50 members. Maybe get some curls in. Looking over at the poll, though, will you buy your PlayStation 6 games physically or digitally? We had got a total of 308 votes. 37% of you said physically, 19% of you said digitally, 22% of you said a mix of both, and 21% of you said you're not getting the PS6. So there you go. Those are the results for the poll. Pretty evenly distributed, I'd say, across those 300 votes. Kato, you're saying I've been playing Lost Soul Aside, and it's actually not that bad. The prologue is tough. After the prologue, it becomes pretty good. Or the prologue is bad. It becomes good after that. Interesting. All right. Well, let's get some reps in. Double check something here. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, I've been seeing people saying that they're enjoying Lost Soul Side, but it seems like it's struggling, as I suspected it would. All right, time to get some curls in. Let's get 12. We'll just go with no music today, you know? You guys count along? We. Oh, my chat's on delay. Damn, I'm like looking at my chat on my streaming software. It's like way delayed. No, I'm using 25-pound dumbbells. I was just saying going for 12 reps, 12 solid reps. Just get a couple in here. I'm not trying to overdo it because I still have to work out later. I did a brutal workout yesterday. And I'm not warmed up. The demo for Lost Soul was a big mistake because it's by far the worst part of the game and it's pretty bad. Really? Dude, that's crazy. That's like the opposite of what a demo should do. That's the opposite, bro. All right, one more good one. There it is. All right. There you go. Definitely feeling that pump, bro. Man, oh, my biceps are sore from yesterday. Oh, man. I had a brutal workout yesterday, and I'm feeling it today, dude. I woke up with some serious muscle soreness, but it was a good one. That's how I know it did something. But guys, it's time to wrap it up. I want to thank you for tuning in to today's stream. I did put out a video earlier. Now, we covered, I think, pretty much almost all of the topics in this stream that we covered in that video. I may have to go correct the title, though. Yeah, hold on. I'm going to do that now. Sorry, I'm just going to do it live. Because I did put Helldivers 3 in the title of that video, but now we know that that's not what he was referring to. So I'm going to correct that. I'll just put Arrowhead's next game. All right. There we go. Making the corrections. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all of the support you guys show. If you're watching live, thank you. If you watch after the fact, thank you so much. And I do hope that you enjoyed this stream and the topics we discussed. We should be back here tomorrow. I definitely have more stuff I want to talk about. I want to talk about Ghost of Yote. We have some new and I think some pretty interesting information, generally speaking, about Ghost of Yote. So hopefully you guys will tune in tomorrow. I want to give a big thank you to everybody who dropped any direct support. I'm only able to do this because you guys make it possible. And yeah, guys, come on. I don't want to see any arguing in the chat. Prince, Solaire, cool it. Cool it. All right. I don't care whose fault it is. I don't want to see any arguing in the chat. I'm just at a point, you know? We're ending the stream, you know? We'll come back fresh tomorrow. Love the pro, hate the pro. Pro exists. It exists. Buy it, don't buy it. It's all good. It's all good. LBC Hawks 12 says, thanks to whoever gifted me a membership. Yeah, thank you to Michael Werneth. He dropped 50 memberships today, and Corey dropped 25, and we landed on 76 members in total. So thank you guys so much for that. Thank you if you dropped a super chat or a direct donation, or if you became a member or renewed your membership. Thank you. You guys make this possible. We have a great community here. Yeah, it's all good, guys. This is where before I go, I want to encourage like Prince G and everybody, like, look, man, I'm just over. People are going to buy what they want to buy. People are going to play what they want to play. And I'm not going to disagree. I just don't want to see arguments break out over stuff like this. It's not worth it. Take it from me, bro. Like, take it from me. It just ain't worth it. So enjoy what you want to enjoy, right? Kumbaya. Peace across the land. All right, guys, that does it. Also want to give a shout out to Devil Shooter, who does the timestamps for the streams. If you guys see him in the comments, give him some thanks, show him some love. I know he appreciates it. And that's it. Please enjoy the rest of your day, evening, or night. I will catch you guys in the next one. Prince, cool it, bro. See, now you're instigating. Solaire's being chill. You're instigating, bro. Come on. We got to cool it. We got to cool it. I'm ending it now. You guys can't go back and forth anymore. I'm going to moderate this stream by ending this stream. Peace, guys. Peace. Yo, Ray just took it all out. Ray took out Prince. Ray took out Solaire. Be like, we're just going to end it. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll catch you in the next one. Till then, take care, everyone.